All right. Welcome to Postgame Live, everyone. My name is Ben Reeve, and the Cats have done it again. 7 in a row. You cannot stop. How do they stop us? They can't stop us. They won't stop us. I think it's going to be a 23-0 type season this year. I might have a bit of echo. Is anyone coming through with an echo at your end? Bear with me a sec. Let me just fix. That's better. All right. So, yes, the Cats. Jesus, we're good. 118 defeated Carlton, 105, 18 goals, 10, 15 goals, 15. It was very close in the end, but I don't think it really mattered, did it? I think we had the game in the bag. Yeah, they gave us a little fright, but that's all right. The Cats go 7-0. And who's next? Who's next? I don't know. Johnny will tell us who's next.
The D's are next. The D's are next. But that's okay.
Does it really matter, though, at this point? Does it really matter?
Ben, we have to stop meeting like this. I'm waiting for the moment where we start talking about where we're like, oh, gee, we couldn't really put it together. And that wasn't a complete game, but that was a complete game.
It was a good game too, I have to say.
Yeah.
Watching it live at the ground, 87,000 people went through the gates at the G. Good weather.
Biggest home and away crowd for Geelong
ever
of all time.
Biggest home and away game. Great crowd in numbers. Good bit of banter, Johnny, and I'll get onto that a little bit later. But the Carlton fans, they brought the lip for a team that's done nothing. No, they're good on them. I loved it.
We haven't beaten anyone of significance yet. This is the thing about Geelong is like you can say like, yeah, we're sure we're 7-0, but I mean, we haven't beaten anyone or who's any good. So, you know, the real test starts next week, doesn't it? That's what I keep hearing.
When are we supposed to come into that tough stretch of games?
I
have been infected by Carlton arrogance. If it's coming through, it's because I've been surrounded by a bunch of Carlton people that wouldn't shut up the whole night. And oh my God, I haven't been this fired up and red-lined for a long time.
I think it starts in late September. Is the tough stretch. So we'll see. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. We actually do have a tough stretch coming up. We've got the D's.
Yes.
And then at the MCG, we've then got we got Port Adelaide at home though at Cardinia Park. Then we have to travel up to the Gold Coast to play the Suns, and then we play the Giants at Cardinia Park. So it is a tough stretch, but we've got a couple of games at home, so we'll see how we go.
Well, we'll see. It's all, I mean, who knows? We'll look back and go, that wasn't a tough stretch. What are they talking about? That was a walk in the park.
At this rate, I've got so many memes lined up for when we're not good, and I can't post any of them. I'm just sitting on them. I'm so upset.
I'm thinking if there's some Carlton fans out there that are tuning into this live show, they've probably already tuned off because I've come out strong. I've come out the most arrogant I reckon I've ever been on this show.
I know.
What do you do? You're 7-0. What are you supposed to do in this situation? Tell me, Carlton supporters.
But
that's right.
It was the week leading up to it. The way they poked us of like, oh well, you know. You beat Adelaide in Adelaide, but at the same time, it's like, you know, what are Adelaide now? And you beat Brisbane in Brisbane, but like what are Brisbane now? It was poor conditions and every other team hasn't been very good. So it's like, sure, like keep telling us, you know, we'll take it.
What does that mean? What does that say about them then? We haven't beat, are they no much chop either? No, to be serious.
I just want to take a look. I'm just looking at the win column. And it says 7, and the L column says 0. So this is the thing. Does that mean
we haven't lost? I think that means I think that means we're undefeated. I think that's what it means.
Exactly. But to get to the actual analysis, to get into the game,
yes.
How good was it to have Guthrie back,
mate? Did
that opening mark?
The number 29, the best number 29 we've ever had. I joke. But how good was it? And then the mark within a couple of minutes.
It's just beautiful.
Jamie Elliott, you can piss off. That's the mark of the year as far as I'm concerned. He's come back from. He hasn't played for so long, and he's come back and done that.
Yeah.
And then I think he hits the target too. Might have been Jezza. I can't recall exactly who it was when he went inside 50, but
there were so many moments in that first quarter that really set the tone for the entire game, and it built me with confidence. And I think this is why why we're sitting here now, a little bit arrogant, but also like why I got to the fourth quarter and felt arrogant was because it was like we were on fire all game. And we'll get to the last 4 minutes. We know what happened in the last 4 minutes. I was never worried, but at the same time, it was like the things that we were doing. Like you've watched Geelong for many years enough now to understand that when we're on. Like you can see, I feel like you can see it in the first 10 minutes of a game. When we are on, we are on. And that's what I saw in this game. And I was never worried at any point. I know that Carlton kept coming back. I mean, at what point were Carlton in front in this game? I just want to have a look at that.
About 10 minutes in. They're a couple of points in front after Matt Owi's point, I think.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And Elijah Hollins kicked that goal. But were you ever worried?
Probably not there. I got a little bit worried in the third quarter. I felt Carlton was bringing a lot of intensity and the crowd was starting to get a bit chirpier and we were starting to, I don't know whether we had enough. I thought, well, maybe this is the loss that's due to come.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt going into the game. Was like, okay, look, we're going to lose some games this year. This will be one of them. And that's okay. I still think we'll make finals. I still think we'll go deep into the finals. But like at the end of the way we performed in this game is like, will we lose the game? Of course we will. But at what point was the way I felt?
When is the big question. Does the AFL world have an answer for us? No, they do not. Yeah, everyone, we were supposed to be finishing 10th or 12th this year. Everyone said two captains had us playing finals. Screws all.
Can I reveal a secret right now? I had us as a bottom 6 team at the start of the season.
Oh, what?
I just didn't think. But okay, so here's why. And we this actually leads into my next point. Let's talk about our premiership form. When we won the flag, it was because Zach Guthrie was playing insane. Brian Myers was playing insane. Parfitt was playing insane. All of our players, all of our low-key players stepped up in such a big way that we were playing so well that we were that premiership team. We weren't that last year. There was some big holes last year and we couldn't fill them. And I was worried about a list. And, like you look at Hawkins tonight, like we'll talk about Hawkins as well because Hawkins looks slow, but it has to be said. But at the same time, it was like, this is the team that I saw in 2022. And this is the team that makes me feel like, okay, we've got a good side. We've got such a competing side. Like, and I said on our show last week against the Lions, it's like, at this point, who are we afraid of? I think more teams are afraid to face us than we are afraid to face them. And we're putting it all together.
Yeah, I think we can confidently go into every game now feeling like we should win at this point. I think 7 games is enough to know that you're one of the better teams, if not the best team going around. There's still people might want to make a case for the Giants, even though they had a loss recently. But I'd probably still have the Giants just ahead of us. Just watching them play footy, it's really impressive. No, we should definitely be a top 2 team. And I don't think we should go into any game. I always get nervous, John. I don't know about you. Tell you what, I'll take you.
Yeah.
You go.
I was just going to say, it's just a pessimistic approach to it. It's the same approach that I take. It's like, we play Carlton again in round 15. We're both coming off buys. It's like, I don't know if we'll win that one. Well, we just did. Like, why do I feel that way? I'm not sure. We play Hawthorn round 17. That's an easy game. It's like, no, but every year we have that game. Like we had Freo come to town last year or the year before and they smashed us at home. And it's like, why did we lose that game? We lost to Freo twice last year. It's like, why is this happening? Like, you know what I mean? Like we always lose that game that's like, we should not have lost that.
No. But we just find a way to win. But let me take you back. Let me take you to my mindset today.
Yeah.
Waking up in the morning, John, rolling over and thinking, scared. It's gonna be injury carnage. Cam Guthrie's going to run out, and he's going to have a season career or season-ending injury. It's going to be the heartbreak headline. And we're flying injury-wise, and then all of a sudden we lose about 4 or 5 players. Thankfully, Port Adelaide did that for us the other night. So maybe that was what I was. Maybe that's why I was dreaming about it. I just thought it was all going to come crashing down because it had been so much fun. This little ride of 2 months now, John. I thought surely it has to end, and it's going to end horribly. But no, it's we're a third of the way through now, nearly, and it's going swimmingly. It's going very.
Like I keep saying, we haven't actually played anyone who's any good. So,
well, it's not our fault they fixed the teams like Carlton against us. What are we supposed to do when the AFL just throws these mediocre teams at us? You can only play who you play. Exactly.
Give us
can only play who I don't know what to do, John. Look, before I let you go, give me a couple of players you like tonight.
All right. Before I go, I want to talk about the slap, the Jeremy Cameron slap. In the first quarter, it was like 5 minutes in. It was, and this was the pinnacle of our game. And I feel like this is our season. The ball was about to die through the goals. And Jeremy Cameron said, "Not today, son. I'm going to slap this ball." Keeps it in play. He sends it to, who did he get it to? To Tui. For whatever reason, Tui was up there. Tui sends it to Brad Close. Brad Close is like, yep, no, I'll get it to Grian. And Grian kicks his goal. Grian Myers, 22 touches. Again, every single game this year, he's had at least 20 touches. He's had like between 20 and 25. It's been insane. And I feel like that was like the inner makings of this game. The other thing I thought, do you want to talk about the slap or are you happy?
No, I was doing the, yes, tell me about the slap.
And then I thought that Pitnet really had Stanley's number today, and we got smashed in clearances.
Oh, so I'm saving the Stanley stuff for later, John. I'm saving it. I'm ready. I've got a couple of bullets in the chamber for that one. Oh my goodness, man.
I'll let you deal with other people for that, but then no, that was it. And then just Paddy Dangerfield, I'm worried, but Atkins is not a bad sub option, so there we are.
And just on Paddy, and I'm sure other people will talk about it too, but I don't know. It doesn't worry me that he's not going to play for the next few weeks. I think we're going to be okay. I think we've covered him already, and I think we'll cover him again. And we'll just make sure he's right at the end of the year. No guarantees he won't ping it in a qualifying final or a semi or something like that. But just look after him. Just take care of our little Paddy. Put him to bed early tonight.
We haven't played it.
Give him an extra blanket tonight and make sure that hammy's wrapped up nice and tight.
Yeah, I'll go see him. I'm down in Lawn. I'll go visit him in Moggs Creek and see how he's doing.
Oh, nice. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, buddy. Good on you.
It's out.
Okay. All right. Quick plug for the sponsor of the show, Valhalla Brewing. Check them out. They've got the brew hall down in North Geelong, just off the highway there. So if you are coming down to Geelong, especially if you're coming to the Cats versus Port Adelaide game soon, make sure you stop on the way and get yourself a nice beverage down there. They do have a tap room in Geelong as well, which I might be thinking about that actually, just popping in there and doing the walk up Moorabool Street to get to that one. So, yes, thank you, Valhalla Brewery. Now, who have I got next? Kyrie. He's normally my man at the end, but I'm getting Kyrie on a bit early today. Here he is. Welcome.
Hello.
Good, mate. How good?
Oh, 7-0. It just doesn't get better than that, Ben. Over the baggers. Baggers are flaggers. Nah, catters are flaggers, mate.
Another one. It's every 2 years. We know how this works. We've done the maths. Every 2 years. Right. We had a bit of a break from this 2 year thing because it was getting a bit silly, but we're back on the 2 year thing again. Every other year we'll win a premiership. That's just how it's going to be.
That's it, mate. Yeah. And like what Johnny said earlier, it's like I don't know when we're going to drop a game, to be honest, because I said in the previous video, maybe Melbourne next week, but at the moment, it's just a great time to be a Cat supporter at the moment. Just what I liked about in the game again. Yes, we were second to the ball, getting smashed in the clearances and stuff, but that didn't matter. Carlton were winning the ball a lot, but if you're not hurting on the scoreboard, you don't win the game. Bad kicking's bad footy, and we were able to capitalise what we could.
Yeah, the Carlton should have been a much closer game at quarter time with their 2 goals 8. I wouldn't say they were all easy shots. Maybe they'd think otherwise. We looked a little bit disorganised in that first quarter down back. Definitely. I think with Stewart not there, it's not one bloke that wins a game for you, but Stewart probably would have stabilised things somewhat and just structured up the back line a little bit more. It looked like Max Holmes was playing that loose man in defence in that first quarter. And while he was getting a stack of the footy, I wasn't really sure if that was working as well as we wanted it to. I'm not sure what they changed after that first quarter. 5 goals in the first quarter, you're going okay. And we were just like, well, we may as well just kick more goals than Carlton. And it worked but yeah, we were leaking a little bit and things weren't that fantastic to sort of start us off. But it was okay. We got there in the end. And yeah, tell me about, I've been saving the Reece Stanley stuff, but I can't hold on anymore. What did you think of Reece Stanley's game?
I didn't think it. I think it was a tough night in the office for him, to be honest. Mark Pitternet, just absolutely towed him. But you know, I think we'll play him again next week. He has a really good record against Max Gawn. I think still trial for the Stanley for 2 and Conway for 1. So as long as they're all fresh and healthy and stuff, but yeah, it's like, but that's the thing with Geelong, especially in Geelong in 2022. Like, weren't winning the ruck or the clearances, yet we were able to damage on the scoreboard. So
yeah. A couple of comments in the chat. A couple of Blues fans in the chat. Welcome to this is a very predominantly biased Geelong channel. So I do apologise. And as I said a bit earlier in the show, I'm all juiced up because I've been surrounded by Carlton supporters all night giving me shit. So I am a little bit more, and I haven't had a drop of alcohol too, but I am a little bit more fired up than normal. So if I'm coming across to the regulars as a little bit more up and about, you can only blame yourselves, Carlton supporters. It's on you. But yes, thank you for joining us there in the chat. Look, let me just say one thing about Reece Stanley. I agree with the club's policy of in out with the Toby Conway and Reece Stanley. Whether they persist with it the whole year, it may depend on whether we see some consecutive concerning games from Reece. Tonight was not one of his better games, but he throws one of them in every now and then, doesn't he? So we're used to that with Reece after 200 games, and we were treating him like a king a couple of games ago when he played his 200th. So quickly we turn on him again. But no, look, he had a bad night. Piternay's not the best ruckman in the world, and Reece looked pretty ordinary there. I would have thought he'd come in nice and fresh after not playing much footy lately, and Kobe Conway was awesome today in the VFL. So
he was unbelievable. I saw a quarter of the reserves, and I'd quickly like to say as well, with Dangerfield out, I'd like to see a player like Mitch Hardy maybe get a run perhaps. He's been killing it in the 2s at the moment, so I could see why not give him a go.
Well, he's probably licking his chops right now because that is one of the ones that might have opened up a door for him if Danger got injured. Isn't that type of inside player? And then you can't replace Dangerfield with anyone else. You just can't. You can't replace Tom Stewart, and good luck trying to replace Jezza. There's just some blokes in this team you can't replace, and you've just got to find a way to shuffle the pieces a little bit and find someone else or find another way to win. And thankfully, Chris Scott and the team and the leadership group at the Cats just I won't say know how to do it every time because we do have losses, even though this year 7-0. But yeah, a loss will come, and we'll be like, how do we lose that game? Because we're just awesome. But it happens, and we'll probably still lose 5 or 6 games this year when it's all said and done. But that's the way it is. But we'll be without Danger for a little bit. What did you? I don't want to dwell on the negative, so I'm going to move on from Reece Stanley because we've won a game. We're 7-0. I'm sure there's people that join this not wanting to hear me and you whinge about all the Reece Stanley and a couple of tackles that got missed and all that sort of stuff. But what was your highlight of the night for you?
Oh, I think Cam Guthrie's mark in the first minute, I was
Oh.
absolutely off the couch, man. Like I was like, Guthrie, unbelievable, you know. And that kick the forward 50 to Jezza, I was like, wow, yeah, unbelievable. Yeah,
if it's
it
not,
was great seeing Cam Guthrie back.
if he's not pinging a quadricep in the first minute, he's taking marks of the year in the first minute. So one of the two, you choose. Oh, mate. Oh, it was I was pretty crazy. It was a fantastic game. I think I've said before, just the amount of high scoring. It's what you want to see. And I was also saying, look, as much as I want Geelong to play perfect footy, as a fan, you just went through all the emotions watching this game because we played some scintillating footy at times. We had some moments where you're like, oh, you're kidding me. And there were some umpiring decisions here or there, even though we still lost the count 7 times in a row, but that's okay. So it had everything. It had a comeback at the end. Cats hanging on in the last few minutes. This game I don't know if it'll be the best game of the year, but it's definitely got to be one of the better ones. And throw in 87,000 people on a perfect night for footy. Just glorious. That's the way you want your footy to be. Well, that's how I want my footy to be as well. I'll take a 100-point win. But I'll take a 100-point win, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all good at the moment.
Yeah, definitely a quality game of football compared to the Port and St Kilda game on Friday night. That was
fall asleep at that one. Tell you what, set your alarm into the fourth. Any final thoughts, mate? It was a classic. This one.
Yeah. What's I going to say? As I said before, just great position to be 7-0. Let's just keep it going. Keep baking the wins. A loss will come. That's football. Nothing's perfect, but let's just enjoy this moment. Take it week by week because it's great position to be in compared to what we were 12 months ago. That's for sure.
Oh, I kind of agree. I reckon we take it month by month, just four games at a time. We're traveling that well. I think we can take it month by month at this point. Just another 4 wins. It'll be nice. Melbourne to come. Melbourne and Port to come. Another team on the horizon there as well. I'll have to look ahead a couple of weeks, but it's all looking good. Hopefully, no other players to come out of this match too injured. Danger could be medium term. We're not allowed to say that anymore, but it could be a medium termer.
Yeah.
We shall see. All right, buddy. Thanks for joining me again. Appreciate it. We'll hopefully see. Keep it going because we haven't lost one of these. As long as we've been doing these, we haven't lost. So hopefully we'll see you back next Saturday night. A little bit later next Saturday night. Not too bad for you in South Australia, but anyway.
No, not bad at all. All righty. We'll We'll definitely see you next week, Ben. Hopefully another win.
You know it. Thanks, buddy. He's a champion. Good bloke, that guy. All right, before I get on to my next guest, couple of comments. Rob Hawkins is a bit of a worry. It's a concern there. Pommy, I love Pommy. Pommy's a good friend of the channel. He's a Carlton man, but one of the funniest blokes I've met. And I don't think you're a stand-up comedian, Pommy, but you bloody well should be. You're absolutely hilarious. Ruthless efficiency from you guys when it mattered. Bravo, boys. Great side levels of maturity and execution. Thanks, Pommy. Come on, the Cats here. We've got to throw that in from Sports Fan. And Conway, we were talking about Conway before. Yeah, 3 goals in the VFL, absolutely killing it. So maybe he comes in for Stanley. I don't think you omit Stanley. We don't omit players. We just manage them these days. But possibly Stanley comes in as well. All right, I got to get my boy on. Stim Dog, Renegade 77. There he is.
My friend, what's up?
What up?
What up, baby? Oh.
What's the headline tomorrow going to be? It'll be a daggy one, but it's got to be.
I don't know. How about 7 wins, 0 and 7 in a free kick count? We haven't won one once this year.
So rather than 7-0, it'll be 0-7. That should be the headline.
How many teams have been 7 and zip and 0 and 7 in the free kick count? I reckon we're the first team ever. We have to be.
I reckon we're all about just breaking records, aren't we? So
that's what we do. Yeah.
That'll be another record for us. The most consecutive times losing the umpire kick. Here I am doing it again. I said just a few minutes ago I wasn't going to come on here and start whinging because we've just won 7 on the trot, but all of a sudden you've brought me back down, Sim Dog. What are you doing?
You know me. I bring you down all the time. No, I'm happy to bring you down because it's
bring it down. Bring it down. All right, now who'd you like tonight? Who come up with? Talk about some players we haven't talked about before. Who tickled your fancy this evening?
Maxi Holmes, tremendous. 26 possessions and a goal. I messaged you before the game and I said I was stunned about our sub, Tommy.
Oh yeah.
I didn't understand that. How with Cripps and Walsh in the midfield, I didn't understand how we're going to go with Atkins as a sub tonight. But whatever. It's he ended up coming on when Danger went down with his hamstring. So, but I didn't really get that call by Chris Scott about why he would put Tommy Atkins as a sub. I mean, what do you think about that?
Look, my only thought on that would be it's probably time to have a little mini rest. He's not one of the oldest blokes going around. He's not a 23-year-old either. So if you give him half a game or 3/4 of a game, on the bench, that's almost as good as a week off. So maybe it was just his turn. Everyone else has had a go. So I don't know if I could be wrong, but I'm not sure if he's missed too many games this year. I'm sure someone will say something in the chat if I've got that wrong. But I should point out he's come on for a quarter and a half, and he's got the third most in tackles for Geelong with 7 tackles.
That's what he does. Yeah.
More tackles than disposals. He just loves his tackle. He's like the Dennis Rodman of the AFL. He'd rather get rebounds than points.
Yeah,
he loves it. Absolutely loves it. But no one's stopping Tanner Bruin though. He's got another 7, and Jack Bowes, who is I'm gradually warming up to Jack Bowes. Talk to me about Jack Bowes. Do you like what you see?
I thought his decision making was really good tonight. He doesn't seem to panic. He gets the ball and he's thinking through it. He doesn't just throw it on the boot. He goes about working about what's the best option for us. I like that. And I think Tanner Bruin's coming along that way as well. So I was a little bit iffy about both of those guys. And I thought, if you don't have Tom Atkins as a sub, it's with Cripps and Walsh in the midfield. You got Bruin and I didn't know about it, but look, I thought they both made really good decisions with the ball tonight. There's no panicking; it was calculated, and I like what I saw. And big shout out to 2 balls tonight.
2 balls,
3 goals tonight.
Yep.
He's only kicked, coming in, he only kicked, 93 goals in his career. He's kicked 3 tonight.
He's got the ton up. He wants to get the ton. He's seen Jezza get all carried away kicking his 600th tonight. And well done, Jez, for kicking your 600. And I'm like, I want a slice of this. And I don't mind when they play the Irish jig as well. And we had it we had it 4 times tonight because we had, I was at the game, but they had dance cam at halftime or 3/4 time as well. And so they thought they'll play it again. So it got a run 4 times tonight that I can remember. I'm glad he had a good game because he's only just been going this year, 2 balls. So he's due a big one.
Yeah, who else? Former team too. Nice. You like it. You like it when a guy comes against his former team and performs like that. I guess one of the negatives tonight, I thought Stanley, he got fucking towed up tonight by Pitnet, especially early, that first half. So that's probably an issue where I'm looking at with Stanley. I mean, you throw Blitzarves in there, he's always going to hold his own. But I think it's a great opportunity now for Shannon Neal. It's just about coming to his stage is coming, I think.
He's not far off it. Definitely. I don't think they'll give up on Tommy yet, Tommy Hawkins. But in terms of, Shannon Neal going through the ruck a little bit, he's done that a few times. That he's been. Well, I can remember him going in a few ruck contests. Last time he was in the squad. I don't know if you can do a 3 ruck rotation. Whether I think Tommy Hawkins will probably bounce back this week. He's had a quiet 3 weeks really. Hasn't kicked a goal for a while. He's probably forgotten how to, but he should set the world on fire when he plays Melbourne. He tends to go pretty well against them. If I've got my history right there, I think he should be okay. And Jezza will probably start to want to get Hawkins there. And we want Tommy to get his 800th goal pretty soon. I have to pull up the data on that one. I think he's not far off it. He might be 10 goals there. He couldn't be too far away.
Yeah, he's getting close. But yeah, like Melbourne, I mean, throughout when he first came into the fray, I think his first game he kicked like 5 against Melbourne. And since then, he's always sort of got hold of them. It's just one of those teams he gets hold of, just like Essendon, he gets hold of them too.
Yep.
But, I mean, other guys I'm looking at, I thought Ollie Dempsey, solid. As usual. I mean, nothing spectacular. He goes for a spectacular grab, but he does his job. Down forward, I thought Stengel was solid, 17 possessions and a goal. That was
that's right.
Nice.
He was good.
I mean, Zach Guthrie, 19 touches down back, and he's growing. We just see him grow sort of week to week, month to month, year to year.
Incredible Zach Guthrie, the Hulk, He-Man. He's getting bigger.
Right. Cam, his first game of the year, 27 touches. I mean, man. Zach
Guthrie's big brother.
Yeah.
He used to be the other way around, wasn't it?
He used to be Guff. What did we call him? Guff Jr. or whatever it was, little Guff.
I still call him Big Baby. Oh, it used to be just Baby Guthrie. Now he's Big Baby Guthrie because he's built like a German tank. He's huge now, so he's Big Baby to me. I'd love to get him on the show one time if I can, but we'll see. I'll work on that. He probably doesn't like us because we call him Big Baby, but we can dream. he was impressive. Cam Guthrie, though, we got to talk a bit more about him. He was incredible. He led us into disposals tonight with 27. We still haven't cracked 30 all year. No one's cracked 30 yet for the Cats. Are we ever going to get No one. No one's cracked 30 for the Cats. But it doesn't matter. Because we're so good. That's all right. We'll get there.
That's it.
We find a way no matter what. Sam De Koning, we haven't really touched on Sam De Koning. No one's talked about him, but that was played his 50th game tonight.
Yeah.
Did you like him?
Yeah. He was one of the two guys who played 100% game time. Like, he's going to get up there. And possessions and all that don't matter to him. He's a body player. He gets his fist in there. And, I mean, it's not about touches for him. He only had 5 touches tonight. But, I mean, you don't really look at that as his impact. But, solid as usual. His brother, I don't know what his brother did. His brother didn't kick goals, so then
19 disposals, 8 marks, 4 tackles, and plenty of meters gained. Frank in the chat saying he used to only get a game because of his brother. Now Zach Guthrie is just as good. Cam Guthrie used to kick it to him all the time. It's like, stop trying to kick it to your little brother. Gary Ablett Jr. and Nath Ablett used to do that as well. Gary would always kick it to Nath all the time as well. Got to get your little brother a kick. But no, it's almost flipped. Well, they're on par now. I'm not going to say a bad word about Cam Guthrie, the 2-time Carnegie Greaves medalist. It's surprising. Were you surprised that he was picked to play after, first game back, going to the VFL like Gary Rowan did?
Yeah, you'd think you throw him in for a week, maybe even 2. But I guess, Scotty knows best. He knows what's been going on behind the scenes. And he led us. No one had more possessions than him for us tonight, 27. So, and he was good. He took that big specky early. I almost jumped out the window when he took that. I think it might even led to a goal. I can't remember. But
no, I think he kicked it on top of Jez's head or something.
Yeah, that's right. He kicked it at Jez, and Jez took that mark. That's right.
Yeah.
Uncontested mark. He kicked the goal, first goal of the game. Other than that, looking down, I guess the only negative really is danger with his hammy. That probably looks like maybe a 3, maybe even a 4 weaker. But,
I reckon they'll be a bit more careful this time around, unless it's just awareness. I haven't had a chance to look at the club website or read any of the news articles about, and I guess he's got to scan it as well, but was he just coming off because he was a bit aware of it, or was he absolutely...
I think it was more than that, yeah. Like you just completely left the midfield and just hobbled down to the bench. So awareness, I think I think it's more than that. So
He's very aware he's missing 4 weeks. So, but no, okay. Well, I didn't see it happen at the time. When you're at the game, you often, if you're not on your phone every 5 seconds, the first thing you know something's wrong is when the sub comes on, and hang on, Atkins is on. Who's off? And I'm just looking around thinking, it's not Paddy Dangerfield, who's the best on the ground in the first half. Surely not. But no, and then what happens in the third quarter? Carlton starts making a charge. Of course they do. But thankfully, our young midfield found a way to stand up and come home again.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's especially those guys like Bose and Tanner Bruin. I mean, they're the future of this football club. And I thought they stepped up. Both of them stepped up tonight. So, I mean, that's a pretty good sign for us. So, yeah, can't fault that in any way.
Did you like Parfitt's game tonight? I mean, it was a good quality opposition. I thought he did some good things, but also some moments where he couldn't quite stick the tackles, and it was costly.
Yeah. He's probably that midfielder where I'm very questionable about. Like, if he's an out, I don't think we lose a lot. When he's in, I mean, I question his toughness a little bit. Look, I'd love to say, look, he's a good, solid dude, and he's doing what we need, but I don't know. He's right on the edge for me. I want to see more from him.
Yeah, I think. Well, he's shown us a lot this year, and I'm not going to. He's earned his spot for he needs to have a few bad games now to get out of the side. He's been that good. So, and I wouldn't say tonight he had a bad game. It was just a few moments tonight where the heat was on, and he really just needed to lock down and stick that tackle, and it just I don't know, bounced off him, and just a couple of moments there. But it's like with anything, we tend to highlight the mistakes, and we don't celebrate the good moments as much. And I'm sure he had a few there as well. I'll probably watch the tape again tomorrow and have a difference of opinion on it.
I mean, he had 17 touches tonight, but he only kicked the ball 4 times. He had 4 kicks and 13 handballs, so he's not actually being a penetrating, player in that sense. But I mean, he's the one midfielder where I have a lot of questions about.
Yeah. Frank looks like Frank agrees with me. I want to ask you one in the chat. Joseph says, "Was I the only one thinking Colo was fantastic tonight? What were your thoughts on?"
I thought, especially in that first half, he was brilliant on Curnow. He really took it to Curnow in that first half. He was fantastic. Touches. I mean, you don't care about touches, but his spoiling, his body work, I thought was fantastic. Curnow sort of got free a little bit in that second half. But I agree with whoever Joseph said that. Yeah, no, especially in that first half, he was tremendous. I thought Colo.
Yeah, there was probably just one moment where he missed the kick and it came back over his head, I think. And but no, considering the opponent he had tonight, and without his good mate Tom Stewart there as well, I think he was good. He was good. A couple of Colourdash moments that from last year or the year before that sort of started coming back to me. But on the whole, I thought he was impressive tonight. I was very happy with his game. So onwards and upwards, we've got Melbourne next week, back at the MCG. I think it's a little bit later. It's a Saturday night one, but it's a 7-something game. I can't remember the last time we went 8-0. It's probably 2011 or something, maybe. I don't know. When did we go 8-0? I'm sure the data's out there somewhere, but we're breaking ground here. This is unusual territory for this Geelong team. Yes, we went on a 16-game winning streak a couple of years ago, but starting a season 8-0 is something else. And, hopefully we haven't fired our best shot too early, and we're saving a bit in the tank for later in the year.
Not something I definitely didn't expect us to be 7-0 to start the year. I mean, our draws were probably had a pretty good handy draw for us. But look at last week we had grand finalists Brisbane. This year got.
Yep.
This week we had prelim finalists Carlton. So I mean, what more can we do? We've done everything we could have hoped at this stage. So, and Melbourne's going to be another tough test. And my big concern for that game is going to be the ruck. I mean, Stanley tonight just didn't hold up. I thought Pitternet really took him to school tonight. So,
but then you throw Toby Conway again back in against a really gun ruckman. Like he was getting smashed by Oscar McInerney last week against Brisbane, and turned for him a little bit when McInerney went down. But Max Gawn is, in some people's eyes, still the premier ruck in the AFL, and was best on ground just a few nights ago. So that's a worry. I think you still got it's ride or die with Reece still for a little bit longer. I reckon he probably plays the Melbourne game, and then we get Toby back for the Port Adelaide game. But if you think differently in the chat, let us know. But that's probably the way I'm gonna show some faith in the 200 game premiership ruckman. I think we've got to trust him.
Yeah. Look, if Conway comes in, I'll be happy. I mean, he's throwing against the best ruck in the league, and we're going to see where he's at. I mean, Stanley's been very. I guess he's been maligned a lot during his time here in Geelong. But look, there's been games where he's been big for us. He's been, a big part of one game. So, but I mean, tonight just was. I'm hoping it's just one out of the box where, it's just a one-off where he got really dominated, because he did get dominated tonight by what's his name? Fucking Pitternet. Yeah. Especially early. That first quarter was, early on, we led on scoreboard, but the clearance was like 9-1 in favour of them, and it was all because of the rough. And, blitz halves, you only want him as a pinch now and then. I don't want to see him full-time ruck.
No way. He's too good in other parts of the ground.
Yeah. He can, like, at times he was even tagging Curnow in the midfield, that he can throw him back. We don't throw him forward as much these days, but
do you know what he'll do next? At quarter time he'll grab the magnet board off Chris Scott, and he'll start moving the magnets around. And he'll be like, "No, boys, this is what we're doing now. Bugger off, Chris. I'm in charge." Because there's nothing Blitzarves can't do. He's an absolute freak. He'll be doing the stats at the end of the game. He'll be champion data. He'll be doing that as well. Probably give him a microphone. He can commentate while he's playing. He's an absolute freak of a man. Jackie in the chat was saying that 2011 was the last time we were 8-0. So that's going to be hard to top 2011, because I think we had 13 games in a row before St Kilda just got us at a Marble Stadium or whatever it was called back then.
Yeah, 2011. Yeah, that was the year. What about 2009? Didn't we lose just one home and away game that year? Or was it 2008?
2008. Yeah. So no, we went on these 10-game runs almost every year through that stretch until we started. Until they wrote us off at the end of 2010, and we came again in 2011 and did it all over again. We're like Michael Jordan, aren't we? We are the Michael Jordan of the AFL. We take it personally. We take it personally when they write us off. When you tell us we can't do something, we throw it right back at you.
You could say we're the Jordan, or you could say that we're the 2024 New York Knicks, where we can win off. So.
Who will be out of the finals? Oh, sorry, the playoffs very, very shortly. My God. And on that note, I'm picking you out. So
right,
you snuck it in. You snuck it in just in time, you bugger.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Okay, mate. Talk to you later.
Take care, buddy. Just a couple more comments before I jump over to Johnny in the chat there. Frank saying, would be a great test for Conway against Max Gawn. It's one of those ones. Do you want to test the players or do you want to win? I trust the coaches. And the players know how they're going. My heart would So my head says they'll probably go with Reece Stanley. I do want Toby Conway to get more games. I just feel like the Port Adelaide one is the better one for him at this point in time. We are the greatest team of all. I don't know how to say your name there. Buffy Sniffer. I shouldn't even say. I'll probably get banned from YouTube for saying that out loud. Yes, thank you for that. And Wire says Cats fans getting confused about which 10-game streak and what year really says a lot. It does, doesn't it? It's interesting. All right. Johnny's been waiting patiently in the chat. My boy from the Chat Cats. Johnny. Good
Hey,
game,
Ben.
mate.
How you going?
I'm buzzing. I am buzzing, and it's not the Coca-Cola, and we're not sponsored by Coca-Cola. We're sponsored by Valhalla. I do have some product behind me, but tell me about the game, John. What'd you like?
Pretty much all of it, really. It was a pretty successful game. Got everything out of it that I thought we would. And yeah, I think everything that we sort of said in the preview pod happened. Like the Blues dominated the clearances and dominated around the ball a lot, but our defense and that midfield team just wrote it out better than anything else.
Johnny, you've got a fan in the chat there who thinks you're pretty hot.
Certainly do.
What a sexy lad! Give that beer a stroke.
Oh,
thank you very much.
give another one.
Jake.
But yeah, it was just a absolutely sensational game by the Cats. A few moments where momentum went away from us, but you expect that in games. It's going to happen each and every game where the other team gets the momentum. But I had trust that Cats would find a way to get back in the game and kick a winning score.
And we did. And we somehow there was a few roller coaster rides there at one point, John, and the Cats just showed they just seem to have some ways of figuring the game out as it's going on, don't they?
Yeah, they're pretty clever, our Cats team, aren't they? Like Chris Scott knows how to move the magnets around, and even the players, like they just seem to know what needs to happen at a certain time. And even when Dangerfield went down, I wasn't worried because I was like, well, he's played forward most of the night until he played a bit of the midfield in the second and third. So I wasn't worried at all. I was just like, we've got this covered. We've got Atkins. I mean, how good is having Atkins as a sub?
What is it? If everyone could have Atkins as the sub, you'd be laughing. Are you worried that we don't have Danger for the next few weeks, or is it like you just said? Then you weren't overly concerned that we had to play the rest of the game without him. Are you feeling the same way about going into the next maybe month? Maybe I'm guessing, but maybe the next month without Danger.
Pretty much. I felt the same when Stewart went down with the concussion. I would have been worried earlier on in like years gone, but with Zach Guthrie playing the way he is and the midfield to play it the way they're playing, they've got it covered. And Cam Guthrie's back. That's a massive boost and massive bonus. And then we also got Atkins raring to go in that midfield. We got the midfield pretty well covered, so I don't think anyone needs to worry. And if worst case scenario happens, we may lose one game, but I can't see that happening.
We've got your boy Toby Conway, future this year's All-Australian ruckman, buried in the VFL at the moment. He's not doing his All-Australian chances any good, but he should get some more games soon. I think he should. He played very well today.
Yeah. He'll definitely be putting the pressure on Reece Stanley, but I can see Toby getting the upper hand in the next, if not this year, then definitely next year. And I think he will push him out this year. I think that's part of the plan.
I'm just checking if Jake's done his VFL recap. I think he has. Yes, that's on the Patreon page if you want to check that out, everyone. I think it's only not $7. It's a 7-day free trials at the moment. And then if you like what you see, it's $5 onwards. But yeah, Jake's he loves that. He's done the VFL W1 as well. So, but there's lots of we had 101 point win today in the VFL, and a lot of our players had amazing games, and they will be dirty if they don't get a game in the AFL very soon, because that was a fantastic game in the VFL today. I don't know who you can drop from tonight, but apart from
it's a good good headache to have for the selection committee, isn't it? Like, who do you drop to get these other fantastic players in?
I'm just trying to think who
It's
not because
terrific.
dropping's not we don't admit players unless they're
No,
under 23.
manage.
Mitch Duncan, maybe. No, he's had one
Yeah,
recently. Is Tui getting a rest every other week these days? I don't know how that works, but
not a clue. Probably not after tonight.
no, Danger's clearly coming out. It's a pretty young. I mean, considering that a lot of people think they were pretty old. Blitzarves has had the he was subbed out in one game recently, but I don't know if he's had a week off. I don't want to rest
No,
Blitzarves. I don't even want him to come off the game or come off the ground during a game. But
definitely not. But it's
can't-
as I said, it's a pretty fantastic issue to have, trying to decide who comes in and who comes out. It's a headache that every team would love to have, and we're just pretty lucky this year. We had no luck last year with the injuries and whatnot, but this year it's all thumbs up. Let someone else have it.
exactly. Sniffer thinks we got to get Nevitt in there as well. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get Nevitt at some
I think
point.
people can name anyone nearly anyone in the VFL and say they deserve a chance, and they do.
Apparently, Ted Closey, Sam's brother, kicked 2 goals and had 25 touches in the twos today. So that's not a bad effort. He's another one that's got a taste of AFL footy late last year. Probably wants another taste. Tastes very nice, AFL footy.
Yeah, it does. And just more players for other fans to get frustrated at. It's like, where do the Cats keep getting these superstars from?
It must be frustrating for opposition fans. It must be, because we just keep turning up year after year, and they all wrote us off this year, but we're here again.
Yep.
And we're not going anywhere, are we, John? We're here for the long term.
We're here for the long term. We've been here since 2005, all the way through. We've only missed it twice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a tough life being a Cat supporter. I mean, 1 year rebuild, we're back on top. It's hard.
It's funny because people in the chat are probably thinking, you guys have just been whinging the whole time about certain players and Carlton supporters and umpiring decisions or whatever. But I guess that's part of being a Geelong supporter too. you tend to think
AFL supporter, really, isn't it?
Oh, maybe, yeah. You tend to think the world's against you a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I think we're going pretty well, John. I think I've been mostly just looking over the player stats tonight. I haven't really looked at the team stats. I always see, this is me whinging. The first team stat I always look at is who's had the most free kicks, especially when there's a couple of blokes behind me at the footy tonight. They were just whinging all night long. Hello, if you're watching. I'm sure you're not, but you were whinging all night long about the umpiring, and you won the free kick count again. So that's okay.
Like the umpiring wasn't the best, but at the end of the day,
no, it wasn't. There was some really horrible ones.
Like it's sometimes they're not going to make the right decision, and I don't think it's going to cost any team the game. The thing that cost Carlton the game was the inability to kick goals when it mattered, really. And the Cats capitalised on our chances each time, going inside 50. We could have been a bit more accurate ourselves, but we still took those chances when they mattered more than what Carlton were able to.
And Carlton's a bit of a, correct me if I'm wrong if you think otherwise, but I think Carlton's a bit of a burst type team. They look fantastic for moments during games and for some stretches during games as well, but they don't always maintain it for long enough. And you just think Geelong is at a high level for longer. They're not absolutely playing perfect footy for the whole game, but their bottom level is still pretty high. And whereas some teams just really just drop off pretty quick. And then look at Carlton in the last 5 minutes tonight. They were amazing, but you can't play that level of footy the whole night. And so I think Geelong was just a bit more consistent through the night and probably did enough to get that far ahead so that, that little blip, we're okay with that.
Yeah, that little blip was a little bit of a worry, but I also thought, we only need one more goal and we'll settle ourselves down, get ourselves back in the game. And did off a fantastic Tyson's Dangle kick to Cameron. I mean, what a better combo to get a goal than them two.
And it felt like it was
Yeah.
going to happen. When you're 5 goals down
Yeah.
with 5 minutes to go, you're really exposing yourself the other way
Yeah.
a lot to try and pinch the win. And it's always likely that, maybe playing that style of footy is more courageous and it'll create more scoring opportunity, but it also goes the other way too. So it's like a last resort type of thing. If you absolutely have to, that's the way you play. If that was the way to play footy, you'd be doing it from the first bounce, John. But no one, that's not the way you win games of footy generally. It's a last resort type thing.
You'll last maybe 2 quarters playing at that pace, full out, and then you're just got to gas yourself out. There's no way you can play. Yeah, as you said, there's no way you can play that game full pelt against a top quality side. Against a inexperienced side like North or Hawthorn, you could play a more like that fast paced game and absolutely blitz them a bit longer. But yeah, against higher quality teams like the Cats and others below us, yeah, it's not going to work.
No.
And Carlton found out.
I think to say a nice thing about Carlton, I think they're not far off it, to be honest. Look, they might be as close as 8 weeks away from knocking us off, but I'm talking more generally, them taking that next step from being a really good team to the best in the game. I think they've just got to find a way to bring that intensity for longer, and just to sort of tighten up sometimes when things are going against them. They're a little bit sloppy at times, and they'll get their players back too. Yes, lots of Carlton supporters will say that's the reason they lost tonight, because of the players that were out. But I thought they are going to be a lot better. You're not just because you get 8 players back doesn't mean you got 8 more players on the field. You still go in with 23 players. It'll definitely improve. By being able to pick your best team definitely helps. But it's still the same number of blokes run out there on the field. And some of them will have a good day, some of them won't. Bit like the other team.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. But we go again next week, John. We're going to do it again and again and again until they just change the rules on us again. They always do. The AFL just says, had enough of Geelong. We're going to change the rules on you again.
Well, they had to change the way they took stats because of us.
They did. What else can they change? They'll probably kick us out of Cardinia Park when they get sick of us winning too much. So they'll tear it down. We've just spent $300 billion on Cardinia Park, but they'll boot us out of there.
They'll find a way. That'll be a disaster.
I'm sure.
Happens, but
mate,
definitely won't happen.
No, it won't happen. Mate, you've got your recap show with the boys on, is it Monday night this week? Is that when you do it?
Yeah, Monday night we should be doing it unless we're all unavailable. But usually Monday or Tuesday evening. But
Monday, yeah,
that's coming up. Looking forward to it. Do a full breakdown and give our votes and talk up the Cats. 7-0.
Hard to do the votes this week, but you've got a couple of days to think about the game, which is nice to really unpack it and have a good look at it. So yeah, that should be lots of fun as well. So everyone check that one out. Hopefully Jake's scribbling his notes. I'm pretty sure Jake's in bed at the moment, unless he's fallen asleep. He'd be probably writing his show notes right now, getting ready to go for the recap episode. Knowing Jake, as we do.
Yep.
Thanks, John. I better keep moving. He does.
Thanks, Ben.
He's so good at it. You have a good one, buddy.
You too.
Take care. Oh, I cut him off too early. Sorry, John. All right. Let's get Brendan and Bianca on. Yeah. You've been waiting so long, Bianca. I'm so sorry. There was a couple of people that haven't been on early before, so I wanted to get them on a little bit earlier. But what did you think of tonight's game?
Really good. I think pressure was really good, and we took a lot of great marks, like marks of the year, and that Cam Guthrie was just amazing.
He's so good, isn't he? And do you know what I like? His hair's growing back. I love it. It's almost like he's another year away from getting long hair again.
Mm.
What did you think?
And I think I picked it last week. I thought we were going to do well against Carlton. I thought we'd grind them out. and we ended up doing it. So I'm surprised no one's brought it up. Did anyone bring up Zach Williams yet?
No, not yet. We haven't brought attention to that just yet. What was what do you think?
A big nomination there for sure.
He pushed.
He
got pushed.
He's rolled the dice on a free kick and then just looks like an absolute spud. Just like had to watch Ollie Henry just stand there all by himself and just take the mark. I could watch that over and over again. I was surprised because when he went down, I thought Ollie Henry must have just king hit him and he's going to be gone for 4 weeks. I saw the replay and it's like there is nothing better than that. I absolutely loved it.
Paul's just trying to quickly jump into the chat here almost. You can jump in if you want, Paul. I don't mind. He's waving me away. He's clicking buttons. I should say we've got Colin back in the on the buttons as well. Colin's our producer who's in the van out the back, but he's just a little bit off still at the moment. So Zach Williams, I watched I was on the bus on the way back on the supporter bus and watched the last quarter again, and I think it was the last quarter where that happened. And it's like he made contact with Ollie Henry. And Ollie was just running along, and all of a sudden he's just cannoning into Ollie Henry, and then he's gone down like he's been hit by a freight train. And all the Carlton people all around me like, oh no, give him weeks. That should be reverse it. What's going on?
He went down.
I loved it. It was great. I could watch that over and over again. It's like, and it must feel good as an umpire to know that you didn't get sucked in.
Yeah.
To just look at it and go, yeah, I'll look at that replay. No worries.
It cost you a goal, unfortunately, and maybe the fourth quarter would have turned out slightly differently. Would have been a little bit closer there if that didn't happen, but. Ollie Henry, he doesn't miss much in front of goals these days, does he, Bianco? He's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
He kicked 2 today or 3, was it?
Yeah, 3. And
5.
Yeah, a couple of times I thought, like, Zach Tui, he turned into a prime Patrick Dangerfield there.
Oh.
2 goals.
A couple of times I thought, Danger's on the field. Oh, wait, no, that's Tui. It looked like he had the socks pulled up and just like looked like a machine. Stuck up Carlton. Just loves it.
He does. He loves getting stuck into his old team a little bit. He still loves Carlton, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't mind revving the crowd up a little bit when he gets up.
Could play like that every week. Oh, it would change our team so much. Like, it was pretty phenomenal today.
Z-Bang has been pretty good over the few weeks.
Zach Guthrie, yeah. Z-Bang.
He's been very impressive, especially without his good mate Tom Stewart tonight. That would have been a lot of responsibility for Zach Guthrie. He's probably not used to being the most important defender. Well, I'd probably say it's fair to say he's the most important defender without Tom being there. I don't know if I wasn't watching him too closely tonight. I was probably more keeping an eye on Kolodashny, who had a very big role to play on Charlie Curnow, and Sam DeConning was on the other fellow, wasn't he? Mackay Harry. So, yeah, but Guthrie was probably playing that more loose guy a little bit.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have brought up Hawkins as well, but I think some of it also was Wiedering. Wiedering was really good today. Like,
100%.
He was a machine, and like, I don't think there was a lot Hawkins could do. He isn't very fast, Hawkins, on his best day, but geez, when you put him on Wiedering, I don't know who would have done well on Wiedering. Like, I don't know if you put Neil on Wiedering, I don't know if Neil would really do much better either. But I hope Tommy can turn it around, because it was a bit sad. It was a bit sad seeing him like just really labouring. But I think he does against Melbourne. I think they'll probably put like Stephen May on him, and I think he'll get May next week. So I reckon he'll turn it around.
I think stick with Tommy a little bit longer. I must say you're right. Wiedering played really well, and so we're gonna give Tommy a pass.
Yeah.
But if we catch up next Saturday night, Brendan and Bianca, and Tommy's no goals or 1 goal. I don't know if we're going to be as forgiving.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I think I don't want and we shouldn't turn on the bloke because he's just about to play the most games for the club ever. But it's not been a great 3 weeks for him. Let's just say. But he'll turn around. He's earned the right to get 1,000 opportunities to turn it around. And Shannon Neal's probably sitting there thinking, it's not far away. It's not my opportunity. My time has come. In a big epic voice. I'm sure he's doing that in his lounge room now. He's not far off getting that opportunity, but hopefully Tommy can finish off his. If this is to be his last year, and I don't think he wants it to be, but if it becomes his last year, hopefully he finishes on a high.
Yeah,
doesn't sort of. It can come pretty quickly sometimes, can't it? You've seen it with other big forwards where the end comes quicker than they probably want it to. Maybe mentally they want to keep playing, but the body says no. But yeah, hopefully that's not the case for our Tom because we love him and he deserves good things. He deserves a 4th premiership like his good mate Joel Selwood. Hopefully he gets the opportunity. Wouldn't that be great, Bianca, if we could have Tom Hawkins and Joel Selwood both finish with 350 games and 4 premierships for Geelong? That'd be amazing.
Do you think they changed the stand name to the Selwood Hawkins stand?
That would be good.
Oh, you reckon?
Do they just have just
Take down the sign.
No, just add the Hawkins name to it as well. Selwood and Hawkins stand, just like and welcome him if it is his last year. Have Selwood welcome him to retirement with the stand. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
But we might have to just retire one of the old names. This is blasphemy. I shouldn't say it, but Reg Hickey stand. Replace the name. I don't know. He's a bit like up there with Joel Selwood, though. One of the greatest cats of all time, Reg Hickey. Not that many of our. I'm probably too young to appreciate him as well, but people in their 60s and above would probably have a lot more love for Reg Hickey or know a lot more about Reg Hickey than we do. But everything I hear from him, he was pretty much on the same level as a Joel Selwood in terms of the respect that he had around the place. So I don't know. Have you got your rights on the stand forever? Surely Tom's got to have something. Tom Hawkins Gate. It's not quite got the same ring to it, but maybe Polly Farmer deserves a little bit more. One of the greatest of all time. But he's got his name on a gate. The Tom Hawkins janitor's closet. Maybe that's where it's at. I don't know.
Hawkins Post or something.
No, that would be good.
The Hawkins what? The Hawkins Post.
And then Hawkins.
The Hawkins Post stand. Yes. Definitely. Well, if we get a little petting zoo at the back of one of the stands, that can be the Hawkins little farm, Hawkins Farm or something. I don't know. We're reaching.
I was going to say the VFLW girls had a really, really good win today.
Against North. 24-point win at Arden Street.
Yeah.
How good. The girls, it's hard. I love it when the girls play well. Yeah. And I get excited for the next week. And then what's happened is that they've played. They often will play against a really good team the next week and get thrashed by 100. So it's kind of hard to. I'm excited one week and I'm devastated the next week when they get thrashed again. So hopefully they're learning some good lessons either way.
There's some teams playing pretty much like
almost
full strength teams this year. Like GWS, I think that's almost like their AFLW team that we played against last week. So it's a bit of a risk that these teams are doing it, but I guess you need to get match fitness because you can't go 9 months without having played a game. But today was just unreal. Chantel Mason had 18 disposals, 5 marks and 3 goals. So wow. She was on fire today. And North Melbourne were, I think, pretty strong too. So really, really good performance. And
Woods.
Yeah.
Ho.
Bianca, do you like Bridie O'Rourke? I think I saw a bit of her today on the highlights. I was watching a little bit of the game. But every time she got the ball, she looked fantastic. She's going to be a good player for us. Are we allowed to get someone like Nina Morrison playing VFLW? Is that in the rule book? Are we allowed to do that? Can we get Georgie Prasparkas to run out and just destroy the competition for an afternoon? Can we somehow make that happen?
Wouldn't really want to because we're waiting for
Probably.
AFL. We can just smash the teams who play the AFLW team in VFLW. So
That's right. So how many of our teams won today, Bianca?
1, 2, 3. The VFL.
That's right. That's right. Ding, ding, ding. Very good. Correct answer. We're flying high at the moment. Now, how are we going to go next week, guys? We got Melbourne. Are we feeling? We should be feeling confident about that. We're not. We should be feeling like we can beat them at home, or not at home, but in Melbourne.
With our midfield going up against like people like Petrarca and Oliver, you get like a little nervous because they're top players. So like Tanner and Bose really have to step up for that game.
I think they will. I think it'll be a good test for a lot of these guys, and I think Melbourne will be the biggest test, even more so I think than Carlton. But Geelong plays pretty well against Melbourne. Melbourne, they're generally pretty good games, aren't they? From memory, there's one apart from that preliminary final when most of our team was sick with a cold or a flu. A lot of our games in recent years have been quite close and very competitive, and quite exciting as well. So hopefully we get something like that on the Saturday night. It's a big, important game on Saturday night in front of. I think it'll be on Channel 7 and. The whole AFL world will probably be watching it, and perfectly set up for Tom Hawkins to kick 6 goals, I reckon. Just a bounce back. Tom, prove all the doubters wrong, Tommy. Prove me wrong on this stupid post-game live thing that I'm giving him a hard time a little bit, but I still believe Tommy's got it in him. He's just got to recapture it. There he is.
We love him.
Where's my Tommy? I'll try and reach it behind me, but I'll pull the microphone out, so I won't. Thanks, guys. One more? You got one more comment? No?
I want to point out Max Bode. He's signed with the Cats for till 2028, and he's been in ball.
Yes. He's been incredible this year, and I'd love him to win a Brownlow one year. I don't think he will anymore, but he's extremely exciting, and he's the perfect type of player for Geelong right now. I think he's exactly what we need, and I really hope he gets a grand final. He makes it to a grand final. They're pretty hard to win grand finals, but geez, if we can get him to one, I feel like it's only fair that he missed out that one a few years ago with his hamstring issue. It would be nice to get back there, at least get him in a prelim, give him a chance to make it. Hopefully he gets out of that game injury-free. Have a great night, you two. I really appreciate you jumping on. We've got to keep the streak going. It's 7 in a row.
Yes.
We'll be back here again for 8 in a row. I'm sure we will.
100%.
100%. Have a good night.
Go Cats.
Go Cats. The man, the myth, the legend. He tried to get on before, but he just pushed the wrong button. Or Colin did, but here he is.
Colin butchered it.
Colin butchered it.
It's good to be back. And sorry, Brendan Bianca, for that little impromptu cameo before. I was having some technical issues.
Wow.
I don't know. Steer me, mate, because I've already had a bit of a rant on the YouTube channel that people may or may not have already checked out. So,
how are you
it was
feeling?
very much a rant. I let the stats guide me.
All right, I'll try and steer you a little bit. So you've done that video.
I've heard commentary around Hawk.
Yes.
Since I've jumped into the call.
Yes.
But I'm not crazy about the commentary. Not through the lens. I don't think people are jumping on and that's it. Retire him through that sort of lens. He's obviously had 3 consecutive goalless games now, but I think about the opposition now. He's been curtailed by even when he's still been firing, he's been put in his place by Wiedering on a few occasions. So that's a matchup that has just worked well for him in the past.
Yeah.
I had been informed through reliable sources that Wiedering was as close to 50-50 playing this game as you could possibly come. So I thought that might be a good opportunity for Hawk to kind of kick a couple on him, maybe get himself a win. Didn't kind of work out. And to Wiedering's credit, he didn't look hampered at all by.
No, he didn't.
I think it was a quad that he had, if I remember, the corky that he received.
Oh, yeah.
But I think about the week before, it's Harris Andrews, and not to mention the weather was awful. So I think we can as a rule, we can kind of for a whole range of different reasons, not just Hawk, but a lot of player outputs, a lot of stats, those sort of things. You really just ignore a washout like that. And then the week before, I mean, what's his name? Anti-vaxxer Jones. Like he played a blinder that week, to be perfectly honest. I mean, he's a great defender anyway, but he put in an absolute blinder that week. So it's not like Hawk's been failing to fire against a walkover sort of opponent. He's had really quality direct opponents in the last few weeks, and then circumstances with the weather in last week's game. And we think to only a week before, like the 2 weeks prior to that, he kicked two consecutive weeks of 4 goals. So, as I think a few people said in the chat, and I think even got flagged along the way, like he's got decent history, despite the fact that it's Stephen May and Stephen May is brilliant. He's got a pretty decent track record against Stephen May. He hasn't kicked gigantic bags of 6 or 7 against him. He's had some good weeks, but I don't think Stephen May was necessarily his direct opponent on those occasions. But I think he'll kick a couple this week, and I'm sure the boys will be looking for him a little bit too. I'm not too worried about Hawk, to be honest.
John's got a question in the chat. Well, answer me this. Does Tom Stewart quarter equal 100+ game conceded?
In terms of just that raw, I guess there's probably a hint of extra clarification I'm looking for, but like just, I mean, no, because like for any player who goes out, there's a player that comes in. So you can't media will pluck out, oh no, he's played this many games and that means that's many games lost. But of course someone comes in to replace that. So no, but I don't know. That's all media spin, those sorts of things. I kind of can't stand it when that sort of stuff gets brought up. One soldier goes down, another one comes in. Same with, we talk about Danger, but, Danger went down in the week that Cam Guthrie came back. Not that you want Danger going down, but it's, we're not dealing with 2 out. We're dealing 1 in, 1 out, and Tom Stewart will come back next week as well. So, there's a net positive overall.
What do you think? Let me just put this to you, maybe as to why Tom Hawkins isn't getting as much of it as usual. Do you think it's anything to do with the way Geelong are playing this year in terms of how we're moving the ball, and then maybe it's affecting Tom's impact? It's not. It's clearly not affecting the success of the team because it's working, but maybe the bombing it to, not kicking it to Tom being the sole focus is not. Maybe they're sort of sharing it amongst more.
Well, I don't think
players.
it's even that. I think it's more this, and it was really, I mean, we've done it in other games so far this year, but it was really on show tonight, was that slingshot sort of, like it was fast hands, it was link, and it also goes incredibly quickly. And because, these days a team will play full court defense, that when that ball goes slingshotting the other way, we know Hawks' qualities don't involve speed. So he's going to get left behind a little bit as everyone goes rocketing off the other way. Not to mention the fact that Ollie Henry is being played as the deep forward for the most part these days. Like Hawks' role is changing a little bit, not because Ollie Henry is the big muscly brute forward, but in terms of how they are trying to structure up that forward line means that he's not getting to stand in the goal square and wrestle like he's always done. Because the role the club wants him to play is different as well. Now, I'm not saying that, had he been able to do that, he would have necessarily performed any better tonight because, again, Jacob Weitering's played against him in that sort of role before and beaten him out before as well. But, I'm just not... And I double-checked last year. Yeah, he kicked 1 goal, 1 against Weitering last year.
Yeah.
He kicked 2 goals, 1 the year before. Like, he doesn't have the greatest of records against Jacob Weitering.
It's an interesting one. Like, I think if you're going to build a forward line at Geelong around a player, you're probably building it around Jeremy Cameron and the way that we want to play and the other pieces that we've got to complement. They complement Jezza better than they're going to complement a player like Tom Hawkins. Your prime movers these days are you've got Tyson Stengel, who's just amazing, sort of creating opportunities for our forwards. You've got Max Holmes who's just running 30 meters, kicking at 60. There's this style of this open space style of footy it's more suitable to a bloke like Jeremy Cameron who can sort of run into space and run up and down and a blitz arbs every now and then. And maybe it's not this sort of kicking it out to a leading forward or kicking it on top of Tommy's head and win a battle of strength. I don't know. Clearly, I don't know anything about footy. I've never really been involved much in footy clubs, but I'm just looking for answers as to why it's not happening for Tom. I can't see
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It is a lot of it is the way we're playing and the fact that at the moment, touch wood, the teams haven't been able to kind of shut down the way that we're playing at the moment. But when that time comes, and there's going to be moments within games or potentially even full games where teams have managed to kind of shut down the way we're currently playing or limit it, stifle it a little bit, Tom Hawkins becomes he instantly goes back to a game that suits him. So when things get a little bit tight, he will be he becomes that dump kick where you can throw it on his head and he throws his opponent out of the way because he hasn't lost the strength. He hasn't lost his ability. He's shown that in the first few weeks. The game's just been kind of played around him, I think, a little bit at the moment. And as mentioned in the comments, he still locks down the number one key defender. So
exactly right. And if that's all he does, then it's still a win for us as well.
That's a huge win.
He's still causing problems for oppositions, and whether or not he may not always get the goals, but if someone's kicking the goals, who cares at the end of the day?
Yep.
Would we be better with the Shannon Neal? I still don't think so. I still think Tom offers us a lot more, and Shannon Neal is still very raw. Probably doesn't know where to be, doesn't know how to work with Jezza as well.
I think he's learnt what he needs to do, but he's ultimately still got to wait his turn. There's someone who is he's got how many goals he kicked in his career? He's got that many runs on the board at this point. Like it's
790.
Yeah, 790 plus. Sorry, he didn't do anything to that. So yeah, 790 runs on the board, and he's got that physical presence that Shannon Neal doesn't. And not that Shannon Neal's any sort of weedy thing either, but he is still more lead up and mark and kind of use a little bit of athleticism to kind of get the ball, as opposed to Tom Hawkins, which is throw your opponent out of the way, wrestle them to the ground. And honestly, I think Wiedering is one of the few key defenders in the comp that can actually stand up to that.
And there's probably 22 Geelong players that know what to expect when Tom Hawkins is in the team, so know how to play with him. And whereas Shannon Neal, and that's not a shot at Shannon Neal, but you put him in the forward line and they don't really know how to help him, where to be, what he's going to do. They haven't played enough games with him, whereas I just think Tom at this point still offers more. But look, if he's not kicking goals and other things start to go wrong or he's struggling to move left and right, then maybe we can have a conversation down the track. I still want to I'd love to get to the end of the year before we have to have a serious think about whether it's time for Shannon Neal. But, maybe Tom
I don't think we're going to be in that sort of pressure spot to have that conversation. Now, there's a conversation that might come up about, okay, how do we get him in there because he's kicking the door down and we need to find a way to give this guy opportunity in case he leaves. That sort of conversation is a natural one. And I'm sure the club will be having that conversation. We might see a three-pronged forward line at points, and there's no reason why that can't work. I mean, Carlton didn't get the chocolates tonight, but you saw the way they played Charlie, Harry, and Tom de Koning at different stages, and it absolutely stretched us at points. Mm-hmm. Because most teams don't have three, really solid key defenders like that, let alone the height factor. If it's someone like a Tom de Koning who's got the height of a ruckman. Yes. And Harry Mackay, who can't kick to save himself, but he can take a contested mark. So yeah, that might be something they explore later on as well. And maybe the conversation within the club, maybe Hawk's already made up his mind that this year will be the final year, at which point you go, well, okay, if his form really drops off, then sure, we explore it. But otherwise, if he's still performing the role that is required for the team, even if the goal output drops a little bit, then he's naturally the right fit because he has qualities that other players in the team and the competition just don't have.
And we mark him very harshly, don't we? Because we expect so much from Tom. We've seen it over so many years. We'd probably drop Ollie Dempsey if he had 3 quiet games in a row. We're not dropping Tom Hawkins for the same thing, are we? It's just not going to happen. So
no.
No, definitely not. I must say, I was in the crowd and Harry Mackay was having shots at goal, and I was just trying to I was trying to trigger some Carlton fans around me, just saying, "Oh, I was just screaming out, they don't trust you, Harry. They don't trust you." Oh my God, did that hit a nerve with a few Carlton supporters? They got all fired up. So.
Look, I'm sure there's probably a Carlton supporter or two buzzing around in the like watching, if not commenting.
Say hi if you are.
Say hi if you are,
or tell us
or abuse me for what I'm about to say. I don't know. I put it in a private chat between us and all the Hoops Crew team before. Like we know some amazing Carlton supporters. My mum's one. But we chat to Pommy and Terry, and like I know Kate and Nick, and Nick being the Carlton's list manager. Like there's some amazing people that kind of align with the club or support the club or whatever that we interact with regularly to semi-regularly. But the supporters, geez, they're trash.
I like it.
It's trash, and I've been saying it for years. And but I haven't been to a Carlton game in a while, and I haven't, I guess, been as active. I haven't been kind of engaging in social media in that sort of way since we've kind of kicked off this platform and things have kind of grown for us. So I haven't necessarily had to be a lightning rod for anything either. But geez, they came pouring out of the woodwork for me tonight. So
I'll tell you what, do yourself a favour, immerse yourself in a cluster of rabid Carlton supporters.
No, I've done that. I have done that before, but I just thought, it's their memories. Maybe things are a bit different now. No, they're still just as awful as they've always been.
I usually wear prescription glasses when I'm at the footy, and one time I forgot, and it was a Carlton game at Marvel Stadium years back now, and it was the one where Joel Selwood kicked the goal. But I didn't have my prescription glasses, so I had to wear the sunnies during the game indoors at night, and everyone just thought I was the most arrogant Geelong supporter. And
we can be, right?
Oh, they were giving me crap the whole day. But no, I think it brings it out of me when we play Carlton because oh my God. Anyway, they got me going. But I was about to say before, I love it. I love their supporters. Yes, they got me fired up. But I actually want to go to the footy and get fired up. I really, really enjoy it. That takes me back to my early 20s when footy was about just getting the frustrations out on the weekend.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's too many loose units out there these days that their idea of getting their frustrations out has taken a swing at you. So I'm not too keen to roll someone up face to face. That's for sure.
No, we don't need that. Keep it to a bit of banter, but yeah, I do. They do bring a lot of energy to a game of footy, and it generally they lift the opposition as well, a lot of opposition fans, because we're all engaging in a bit of chat, and it's good fun. That's what footy's what's footy's great behind the fence, on our side of the fence at least. Anyway,
look, as John says, they are kind of new to this whole winning thing. So I get it. They're probably after me a little bit this week because I've poked the bear with the win today. I poked the bear referencing the 1995 salary cap breach only a few days ago. So I'm kind of on the receiving end of Carlton supporters and their feedback at the moment. But
just don't mention Darren Milburn. That's their final straw. They don't like Darren. They don't like it when you defend Darren Milburn's actions.
They probably don't like all the premiership medallions around his neck either. But
no, I probably didn't feel like he was worthy of that. Mate, I'll let you get to bed or play some games or whatever you're doing. We'll be. Are you doing a full Nuff mode tomorrow night? Have you got someone lined up for that in your mind?
Look,
is enough?
Zach Williams is a recent candidate. I was thinking about.
True.
I was thinking about boundary umpires again, but I think did I dunk on them?
We've done that.
Look, sometimes it's worth returning to the well.
Have a think. There's some games to come still. So
yeah, there are some games to come. So I don't know. But yeah, probably at the moment the front runner is Zach Williams.
I tell you what, I caught the bus from a local pub to the footy today with about 75 absolute nuffs, absolute footy nuffs, and I'm getting cancer. I can already feel it growing in my lungs. The second,
just the smoke, right?
Nothing against smokers.
I thought you were just referencing the immense levels of bullshit that were coming out of people's mouths. But okay, right. Actual cigarette secondhand smoke, righto.
No. The secondhand smoke. Oh my god. But no, they had a good time. But they're very. If you want to see a picture of it long enough, just have a look at one of those supporter buses, and have a look at the people that are on the bus. That was me today. So maybe that's what does that say about me anyway?
Yeah. Before I bounce, and because I missed the kind of early stages of the video today. How much has Reece Stanley been brought up?
I made a fair bit, but I welcome it. Bring it up. Talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, we're so far into the video at this point. Apologies for letting children cover their ears for a second. Fuck me, Reece Stanley. Holy shit. Completely listless today. I don't know. I just I know, like he's a unit. Like he's not brick shithouse sort of unit, Sean Darcy sort of style ruckman. But like he is a very fit, very strong, athletic guy. He obviously can take a Tom de Koning or a Mark Pitney when it comes to speed, but I don't feel like we saw any of that really get utilized at all tonight. And then he got pushed and shoved around all over the place. When it comes to the ruck, the actual contests themselves, like he threw nothing at them. And I was actually shocked when I looked at the hit out totals to see that, I think Reece got 22 or something himself. I'm like, I couldn't believe he got as many as 22. I feel like he got nowhere near the ball all night.
Nothing effective anyway.
Meanwhile, you got sorry, Brendan, though. I still
was gonna say,
there was the disclosure.
She doesn't
Bianca,
stop
if you're still watching, you should have covered your own ears.
We have to hit the end stream button. That's the only time Bianca
we'll need to get a dump button going forward.
We need to get a little graphic that comes up saying Paul's just to drop a series of F-bombs.
Look, I know the YouTube algorithms. I know I need to avoid it for the first couple of minutes, and then afterwards it's free for all. So, we're an hour 30 in, so it was pretty safe outside of upsetting people. But clearly, Bianca's taken it in her stride. Apologies again, though. I'm a bad influence. Meanwhile, you've got Toby Conway. It's kicking 3 goals in the seconds today and absolutely tearing strips off. Now, admittedly, the Carlton team there was shot to bits because of all the injuries, but he's ready to go. He's proving that he's ready to go. He's getting the job done consistently now that he's with those games he is getting at the level. We're getting real close to needing to pull that trigger. I know, obviously we're talking about Hawke and Shannon Neal before. I think the gap between Hawke and Shannon Neal is significantly greater than the gap between Reece Stanley and Toby Conway right now. I think Toby is very close to overtaking the guy. And there's obviously qualities that Reece has that Toby doesn't. Reece has got a crazy tank. And we'll just, and probably the fastest ruckman there is in the comp in terms of just covering. Well, he's run a grand final sprint. So,
who's with that train of thought, who's the closest comparison to Gary Rowan? Who's keeping Gary Rowan out of the side?
The coaches at the moment, because he's also running amok in the VFL at the moment. I know, like, it was a back, so like you want to be probably a little bit extra cautious, but he's playing really good minutes, is my understanding, in the seconds there, and he's performing to really high standard. I think would he kick 5 today? Was it 4 in the end? I can't remember. If he was, I was watching at one point. He was having a shot for a 5th, but I can't remember if he actually kicked it or not. But yeah, he's kicking that door down as well. But at the same time, we say that, and I can't think of a player who's within that forward line group that's you can look at it and go, yeah, you're underperforming. You're probably the one.
I don't know who Mitch Nevitt replaces.
Anyone. It doesn't matter. He's a jet. Get him in.
I don't know. There's a whole bunch, and hopefully the VFL team got through unscathed today. I didn't see anyone.
My understanding is yes.
Phoenix will be back to help them out next week. After his concussion.
After his concussion, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Chatting to him right after the game, he was like, "Yeah, I'm doing all right." So, of course, there's all the tests you got to pass. Sending our best to you, Phoenix.
But
hopefully,
he passes the absolute legend test every week. So
well, yeah,
we-
exactly.
we love him.
There's no questioning that. So,
he ticks that one off every week, so he's fine. Hopefully he gets a good run at it because we know he's had a bit of bad luck with the foot earlier on and with the concussion. So we have an unusual love for Phoenix, but he's been good to us and
nothing unusual about it.
no, we really want to see him go well, and we're not the only ones. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of love out there from the Cats community for Phoenix, so, but we've got a special soft spot for him. Definitely.
This comment here about Mitch Duncan, was he brought up in the call? Because I've got no dramas at all with how Mitch is travelling.
Talk to my wife. She's not a big fan. She's not. She's the probably.
Right.
Oh, she cannot stand Mitch. And she's probably too harsh on him, to be fair. But no, he's just going. He's just going at the moment. He's not setting the world on fire. I don't know.
But he's still lacing out people when it comes to setting people up in the side of the forward 50. He was obviously a key link in that final thrust for us as well. But I've got no concerns with how he's going at the moment. Now, if we're simply framing it, like if I'm taking the wording of the message very, very literally, say, is it time for a rest? Well, based on what the club's been doing with the older players, then the answer to that is yes. If we're looking at exclusively through that lens, then yeah, he's probably due. His numbers up. And it's time to have a spell. But I'm always, and we've discussed this in the show over the years, I'm really hesitant to see, like, especially if he's not injured, I'm really hesitant to see Mitch Duncan go out of the team because whenever he misses, he takes a game or two to get that precision game of his going again. So he's here, he's got that momentum. I checked his stats. He's operating at 80% disposal efficiency today across 22 disposals. That's awesome. There was 4 score involvements. There was goal assist. I think he's ticking a lot of boxes. So I am worried. And yeah, thank you for clarifying that. It is exactly what you meant, that I'm quite literally just due for a break. But I am hesitant simply because he's a momentum guy. When he's got momentum, he's lacing people out with no dramas at all. But when he's been in and out for injuries or whatever the reason might happen to be, it takes him a couple of games to get himself right again. And so I don't really want him to miss.
I was about to ask you this next question, but I want to save it for Ethan, who's been waiting a hell of a long time in the chat.
Yeah, kick me out of here.
I will kick you out, but Ethan, if you're listening, I was about to ask Paul of the current team that we rolled out tonight, who would be the 5 players that you probably would say five to 6 players that aren't first picked in the top 15 or whatever that are, that I would call them fringe players, not in the traditional sense of the word fringe player, but they'd have to be. They're not absolutely getting picked every week, and they're not entitled to 4 or 5 bad games. So don't answer that, Paul. But you can comment in the chat if you want. But
no, that's fine. I'll leave it. I'll leave it for Ethan to have you say there. But actually, also excellent point by Daniel here that he actually missed a game recently because he had a kid. So,
that's true.
So he has had that break already.
Daniel, if you know the baby's name, I'll give you a bonus point for that one. If you can let us know. I can't remember now. I've already forgotten. We've got to name the baby name. If you've got a baby name for Tom Atkins and his partner Laura, I don't know when they're due, but probably 4 or 5 months from now. But yes, we want to come up with some names for that. Jake and I were saying Osheen Atkins or Osher Atkins. That was an early one, but we're planning to put together a list and send it over to them. Anyway, Paul, I'm booting you out. Boot yourself out.
That's fine. No, I'll get out of here. Shout out to Jake Colchasty again for doing another great job. I can't argue with his form at the moment.
You can't. Good on you, Jake.
There you guys.
Thanks, Paul. Take care. Oh, he's out. Calling on the buttons. All right, Ethan, you've been waiting very long. Oh, you're still with us. I would say you've fallen asleep because it's daytime over there, but thank you for waiting so long. Go Cats, eh?
Yes, sir. Go Cats. I took a nap and actually had to kind of catch up during the first quarter. So I'm still kind of riding off that, but man, this was one I did not see coming. I mean, I didn't see last week coming. I didn't see this week coming. Especially didn't see last week coming. I thought, realistically, I gave us 40-45% chances today, and I think we executed better. That simple, we were better in both 50s.
Better for longer.
Favorite thing today, I think, two guys that, last week said, we've waited to see them at their best, Jack Henry and Tom Atkins. Jack Henry did a really solid job in his one-on-ones today, I thought. And then Atkins, when he came on as the sub, I thought he gave us so much energy and just started tackling everybody. And it was like, that's the Tom Atkins we've been waiting for. So now I guess we're just waiting on Mark Blitzovs to do that. And I think next week against Max Gone would be a perfect opportunity for him to really go back to his peak form. Tui as well. Yeah, John mentioned Tui. I thought before this week, I wouldn't have even included him in the team. He was incredible. Maybe the right plan is just to play him every other week or, every third week and let him really build up and then let it rip, because he was on a different level today. His motor was really high.
He was in good positions today as well. He found himself at the end of a few and went back and kicked him. He didn't miss any of them. And maybe
he was terrific.
Last year, the year before, he'd probably miss a few of those. He wasn't as reliable, but I'm so happy for him against his old team to play that well.
I trust his kicking ability for sure.
Yeah.
I think he could be, I'd like to think, I know he's already into his early to mid 30s, but I'd love to see him be a triple code player. Like, I'd like to see him punch in the NFL. I think he'd be a fan favorite. And I mean, he can boot it 60, 70 yards easily.
Yeah. I thought he was going to tonight when he was trying to kick out from, not kick out from defense, but he was in the back pocket there. I thought he was going to launch here. He's about to launch, and then he played it safe. We haven't seen a torpedo from him for a little while.
Someone report broke one out last night, and I can't remember who. Might have been Dan Houston. I don't remember.
Tommy Hawkins did it last week. And
who was it who really ripped one last night? Yeah, it was Dan Houston. Okay. But to go to the question that had been posed, who's like a fringe guy right now? I don't know, and that's a great problem to have. I mean, I think just Stanley and Conway, you kind of want to alternate between the two. My guess, like you guys had hinted at, was, Stanley goes next week and then probably go Conway against Port, especially without Soldo. Jordan Sweet's more of just a stay in the ruck guy.
Yeah. Yep.
But other than that, I don't know. I mean, I think Parfit's done enough to earn multiple games in a row.
Yes. Would you say Ollie Dempsey is in the first 15 players picked for Geelong?
I don't know if he is, and that's awesome. Because I thought he was really good. Just every touch he gets seems really valuable. I don't know if Mark O'Connor's in the first 15.
I was just about to say Mark O'Connor. Is he first 15 picked?
I know he didn't have huge numbers tonight. Looking at it right now, because he only had like 6 disposals or something.
Yeah.
But I thought just every time he was involved, it was at a really important time, and just something he does that's just indispensable. Same with like Brad Close. I mean, he only had 11, but he always seems like he's there at the right time.
No, he always seems he has more than 11, but you look at the stats and it's like, because he's always involved. Yeah.
Anytime we haven't had a goal in a while, my instant comment is Brad Close needs to get the ball, because, I mean, out of 11 touches tonight, 6 score involvements. That just kind of sums up what a high-level player he is. It's like Tim Membry with the Saints. It's like, just get him the ball more and good things happen.
I've never been a Membry fan, but I'm pleased someone is.
I like him. I think he's just got to get involved more often. I think can apply Jade Gresham to some of that too if you watched Anzac Day.
Brad Close doesn't get a lot of possession football, but he gets a lot of little. He's in the right spot. He gets a lot of those little tap-ons. He doesn't always have to collect the ball and dispose of the ball, but he's a smart footballer, and he makes good decisions most of the time. And so those 11 possessions that he gets, plus a couple of hits to advantage or whatever, or pressure acts, it has such a big impact on the way we play.
Who are your 3 for this game if you're evaluating both teams? I think Jezza 3, but past that, I mean, Mackay was a force for them, but it's like he also had some kicking inaccuracy that really hurt.
I think, and I reserve the right to change my 3-2-1, but I would say Jezza definitely the 3 votes. I think probably I want to say Grind Myers for the 2 votes, maybe. Hello, Grind, if you're watching. Not Grind Myers, the cat, maybe.
He is sitting right over on the other side of the screen. He's here.
Ethan has a cat called Grind, if you're not caught up with Ethan, if you're not familiar with Ethan. And who else? Probably Danger was so good in that first half.
He was, and then so was Atkins. Like on the other side, I thought Pittman was excellent. He killed us.
Yeah. I could probably Max Holmes.
Max
Grind Myers or Max Holmes for the 2 and the 1, but Jez are definitely the 3. But
I consider Zach Guthrie.
Yeah, I'm often one from the Hoops crew. I'm often putting Zach in my votes. If you're wondering who's giving the Zach Guthrie the vote, it's often me. But no,
I thought he did so well. I thought just his kicks to relieve pressure whenever it felt like things were about to collapse. It seemed like he would come in and manage to get the ball and manage to kick to an open man where to alleviate the pressure when it felt like things were really like the walls were caving in.
John saying Jack Henry played the Tom Stewart role today. Now, this is an interesting. I'm glad you said this, John. I would be saying Max Holmes played the Tom Stewart role in the first quarter, and then we probably had Guthrie playing it at some point as well. Zach Guthrie. So it's almost like we've tried a few different players
It
in
was
that.
kind of by committee.
Yeah, it did feel like that actually. It wasn't the one guy the whole game.
Because look, there's one Tom Stewart. The combination of the sweeping defense and the ball movement and the one-on-ones, you're not going to make that up with just one guy. I think that's something that has to be made up in the aggregate. I mean, how many across all 18 clubs, how many guys could you ask to do that?
You can't.
Sam Taylor, maybe?
Who's going to play the Jeremy Cameron role? You can't. No one can play the Jeremy Cameron role.
He was tremendous. I thought just watching him play, not just controlling the forward 50, but heading out, playing in the midfield, even going back defensively at times. He's doing something special right now. I mean, he's done a lot of special things, but I think today was different from him.
Do you know why we should keep Gary Rowan out of the team? I'll give you a stupid answer.
Save him for finals?
No, it protects Jeremy Cameron from getting KO'd and ruining his season like it did last year. Jezza is having an MVP type season in the AFL this year. Well, he's starting to build one anyway. And the worst thing could happen would be a teammate collects him and concusses him and puts his shoulder out and does all this other damage. I'm joking, of course, but I'd love to get Gary Rowan back into the side. But it just feels like Jeremy's having such a great year right now, and I don't want anything to go wrong because if he keeps it going, goodness me, we could be contending for a premiership. It's very early still, but if Jezza's fit and firing and everything's just tracking in the right direction, we're a real chance at least being in the pointy end of September, maybe prelims and possibly grand finals.
I'm also just loving his whole run of YouTube videos. The other day he was just showing off how to hit different kicks on his farm. There's something really funny and relatable about him.
I think so. He's hilarious, isn't he?
He's the sort of person like I can show to someone who doesn't know anything about the sport and just like, yeah, this is a cool guy.
He puts a GoPro on the sheep, doesn't he, at one point?
Yes, he's done that. He's put it on his dog. Obviously, he's put a medal on a cow.
The funniest thing in football ever, I reckon that was.
I don't know. I like Sam DeConing wearing the cup as a hat that day, too.
Well, sorry, what was that?
I like Sam DeConing wearing the cup as a hat that day, too.
Yes. What was he doing? He's just doing the stupid face.
The other thing I love about the way we've been winning games is I don't think guys are going to get complacent because we have clear areas where we still need to improve.
We do.
You know,
We definitely do.
we had trouble with top midfielders today. You know, guys made it up in the aggregate. Looking at the numbers, I didn't realize Tanner Bruin over 84% efficiency. But like we've had trouble with some of the top midfielders, and we've had trouble with top ruckmen, and we're still winning games. But I think there's like a general sense of, yeah, we still need to be better. We have things we can improve on. And I don't think there's a lot of complacency.
Efficiency is an interesting one, or disposal efficiency. You compare someone like Tom Atkins, who gets a lot of his possessions underneath a pack, and it's hard for him to pinpoint a target when he's got 4 blokes jumping on his back.
Oh, yeah.
Versus a Max Holmes who gets it into space, and he's usually kicking it to a bloke who's clear. It's a really tricky one. You've really got to look at that efficiency based on the role that they're playing in. If Tom Atkins is going at 80% efficiency, he's having the best game of his life. He's someone who you probably expect to be around 70%.
Yeah, he was at exactly 2/3 today, for example.
Yeah.
But a great example of that, like looking at the game the other day, like Jake Stringer, 3/4 of his possessions were contested, and his efficiency was still near 70%. I think you combine like efficiency and contested possessions and all that. But yeah, for Broom to be at 84 with, him getting in there and getting dirty is good. I still, he didn't really show up a ton until the second half, I thought. I thought he got better as the game went on. I thought it was a really interesting game from Jack Bowes, where like at times he looked like he just wasn't fast enough, but also his foot skills were really good. And he was in opportune places at the right time. And I think he was another one who was just, kind of creating his own luck and just finding a way.
Somehow they do it. I don't know how. Tanner Bruin had 18 possessions and went at 84%. So that's not bad from him, because I would say
half of them were contested.
Exactly. So
I liked his game. I thought like I said, he got way better as the game went on.
He's incredible. I love Tanner Bruin, and it seems like, from what I hear, a lot of opposition fans like him as well. He's got a bit of swagger. He's just got, I don't know, he's not setting the world on fire just yet, but if he goes up another few gears in the next year or two, watch out.
Terrifying.
I don't know if he's got it in him, but if he does, wow. Could you imagine him and Max Holmes at absolute peak levels, when they're in their mid-20s? Jack Bowes. No one's really talked much about Jack Bowes tonight. Can we spend a little bit of time on Jack Bowes before we finish the show? Because I must admit, and I've said this a few times, I've really struggled to warm to him. It's a bit like
last year I was skeptical too.
Yeah, but it was like Isaac Smith took me a while as well, only because he's from Hawthorn. But Jack Bowes, I was like, I don't know. Is he just another sort of player that'll play 50 games and then eventually he'll finish his career and not quite make it? A bit like a Sean Higgins, Sean Higgins was a great player, but when they come to Geelong, they sort of
End of career Sean Higgins was not.
No. But a few years ago he would have been. But yeah, Jack Bowes has really impressed me, and it's probably made me sort of think a little bit about what I'm talking about.
He's made me much more of a believer this season for sure.
He's been terrific. I don't think he's ever been in our best players on the field, but he's definitely deserving of his spot in this side.
If we can get to that point where someone out of Clark or Bruin can take on, the best guys, and then Bowes is kind of facing like the second or third best, I think he's really going to thrive, because like it's tough when you throw him in there against, top guys. I think he's a step behind speed wise, but I love what he does by foot.
Oh, he's incredible. Do you think? You go.
Kind of some of those, like, I wish he could do a little bit more speed wise, where he could get into that slingshot role, because I think other than the speed, like, the areas he kicks to and kind of where he gets the ball, I think he does that really well.
I think so. I was about to ask you, Tom Hawkins, and I don't want to talk about Tom Hawkins' form again necessarily, but he is 10 goals away from kicking 800 goals. Do you think he'll get that in the next month? It's crazy to think a whole month to kick 10 goals. Tommy does that in 2 weeks sometimes, but
well, here's the thing: we look at upcoming matchups, and I know you guys were talking. He's played Melbourne pretty well traditionally. Hopefully, that continues. Port Adelaide, if Port doesn't make this mistake of putting Brandon Zerk Thatcher on him, who's done, by the way, Zerk Thatcher's done a terrific job against smaller opponents. He's just, he was miscast at Essendon. Hopefully he gets a little taste of that, and then maybe against the Suns he finds someone inexperienced. Hopefully against Richmond they put Dylan Grimes on him, unless that's a game you could rest a bunch of guys, because Richmond, just with where their injuries are, it's rough. Yeah, I can see him going off against someone like Asava or Zerk Thatcher, and then, hopefully like Dylan Grimes, who's just, it's funny, like people have talked about, Steel side bottom looking like he's finished. Dylan Grimes looks like he's finished.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Great at speed, but I think there will be a game for Hawkins, but if you want to find times to manage him and get Shannon Neal in there more, I'm not going to complain.
We need to get Shannon Neal into this game. I'm looking at I've got the milestone games sort of in a little spreadsheet at the moment, and I've got Tom Hawkins breaking the record for the Cats in the Gold Coast game up in Darwin. Do you actually think that'll happen? I think Tommy's getting a rest before then, and he'll play that game 356 to break the record. That should be back at Geelong, you'd think, or at least in Victoria. He was due to get it against Port Adelaide, but then he's missed a week. So
I don't know. Maybe we rest him for the Darwin game, and then get him back in there. It would be tough against the Giants. That's also that's a team that I love that we're putting ourselves in this position now. Like I've said many times, we've got this room for error, because you look at like a team like the Giants that's played well at our place. I don't know. I think Tom just needs to see one go through, and maybe it's, a team throws an extra guy onto Jeremy after what he did today, and it opens up.
Good point.
Or someone passes up an open shot by handballing one to Tom, just so he can see one go through.
But you know what he'll do? He'll give it off to someone else because he's that unselfish. He's like, oh, no, I haven't kicked a goal for 4 weeks or whatever, 3 weeks, but that's okay. I'd rather get the goal assist than kick the goal myself. He's that type of guy.
Maybe he needs to grow out the little beard again like he did for the photo last year. Maybe that's what is missing.
Grow out the beard, get on his motorbike and ride the bike to Darwin and play game 356. It's not going to happen in Darwin. There's no chance. He's I don't know what the game is after Gold Coast. I'm sure someone in the chat
Giants.
Oh, you said the Giants. Sorry, at home. So yeah, no, he's definitely playing that one. All going well. He plays against Melbourne this week. He should tie Joel Selwood in the Port Adelaide game at home. Maybe that's more important. The fact that he's tied it at home, and maybe there'll be a celebration there rather than when he breaks it. I think that's probably what I'd prefer, actually, if you're asking me. I think it's a more important thing to tie with Joel Selwood than to go past him.
I loved one of the stats, speaking of Joel, that was brought up during that Saints Dogs game, where they were talking about, like, what's it like? What does the coach tell you when you're down, 80 points at 3/4 time or whatever? And it came up that Joel Selwood played in, I might be 1 or 2 off, but I believe it was 81 games decided by 10 goals or more, and he won 76 of those.
Yeah. Crazy. He's a freak, wasn't he? I hope they do something special in the Port Adelaide game.
Between him and Hawkins, just looking at their career numbers and just the team success they've had is simply incredible.
So I want Tom to get 4 premierships. I'm greedy because we just got one for Joel, and that was my big wish that Joel retired as a premiership captain. And I can't be too greedy, but it would be wonderful if Tom could get a 4th as well, and we could get Mitch Duncan to a 3rd, and then Mitch Duncan would be considered with those Geelong heroes from the late noughties, the 2007, 9, and 11 teams.
I think Mitch should definitely be considered there altogether.
Well, he'd be 300 games probably next year as well. That's another thing that's if he goes on one more year, there's a chance that he gets 300 games if he can play most of the games. He may need to play 2 more seasons to get there if his body's letting him down a little bit. But then maybe he'll just fall short. I think he'll probably just fall short of 300 actually. But
honestly, the best argument for Mitch Duncan isn't even the winning he's done. It's look at how much they've struggled when he's been out.
Mm.
And I thought he was solid. I thought he was really good last week. I thought today he was just, he was solid. He wasn't anything to go nuts over, but he was fine. Played well on the outside.
He's definitely. There was a few players for Geelong that really stood out as having some below par games, and I don't think Duncan to me was a standout in that regard. Like, he's not going to be our best 3 players on the ground very often. I don't probably expect him to, but he's generally pretty solid. His level is pretty consistent, isn't it? He very rarely has a bad game. He very rarely has an amazing game where he's going to poll Brownlow votes, at least this stage of his career anyway. He just does what we need him to do, and occasionally he'll be hitting up Tom Hawkins on the chest in the forward pocket. Not as much this year. We talked a little bit about that before, but maybe that's the Geelong style of footy sort of shifted a little bit, and that's not as advantageous to a Tom Hawkins these days. It's probably more advantageous to a Ollie Henry and a Jeremy Cameron. Tell you what, Gary Ryan, when he comes back, he's absolutely going to love it. He's going to be in heaven. He'll be kicking bags of 5 every other week, the way Geelong's sort of playing in the forward line right now. If he gets that opportunity, I can just see him having.
It'll come at some point. It's just a matter of when and how. Is it because someone gets managed? Is it because of injuries? Like, I'm not all that worried about the Dangerfield injury as much as I thought he was necessary to have today. A game like today, it felt like a captain's role was really needed.
Yeah.
Sorry if I don't know why my camera's bugging out a little here.
That's all right.
But it's like, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked looking ahead if we don't see Dangerfield again until around the bye, like either Sydney before the bye or Carlton after it. Because, A, we're in a position to manage an injury conservatively. B, that's just kind of how we've always been. Coach, Chris Scott will say he's, you think he's a couple weeks away, and then, it just kind of gets played out. But it's like, look, Hardy can deserve games. Nevitt deserves games. Jai Clark can find his way back in. I'm not going to go too nuts off of the VFL performance today because look, with the amount of injuries Carlton had, they have a number of AFL-ready players, but it definitely takes a toll at the VFL level, like we saw last year with our guys.
Oh, look, they're very deep, but can they? And that's to their credit. They're a fantastically deep squad, but doesn't mean you're going to gel with each other. If you're playing with a different 22, 23 every week, it's really hard because you're not used to those teammates. The game style's changing week to week. You're winning games because you've got that consistency. The same guys you're running out with every week. They don't always have to be the best, but generally you're much more predictable to each other, and you kind of get a bit of a flow going. It's just going to be tough for Carlton if they. Well, hopefully it's not like our story last year where we got some players back and then we lose a few more.
I don't want guys getting hurt. I just want them to lose games.
Oh, of course, yes.
The list of guys that I want to see injured is like, no, you have to be a really bad person off the oval to do that.
Paul was saying in the chat before that going back to Mitch Duncan for a second, that he's the best player. I don't know if he's the best Geelong player, but he just said best player that's never won an All-Australian gig or Guernsey.
That's hard to believe, honestly, just with this
He's
is
just
what
been
his
solid.
late career form is.
His whole career has just been a solid footballer. Good enough to play 300 games of footy and win 2 premierships. Has he won a best and fairest, Paul? I don't think he has either. I think best and fairest are more important than all Australians too. I should say.
I don't know if he might be one of those guys that like. I think of this in context of like baseball. You see it a lot, like guys who maybe, like if you were to just look at their stats for their career, it's like no, this isn't a Hall of Fame guy. He's a Hall of pretty good, but because he did so much with one team, means a lot to that team, and I think that might be where Mitch Duncan is.
Yeah,
and look, successful teams have that.
Yeah. I just want him to stay fit. I don't need him to play 20 games this year. I think when we start seeing signs that he's struggling a little bit, it's probably the time to give him a break. But I don't think I thought he was fine tonight. I think in a couple of weeks' time, and it's going to be hard because we're playing some very good teams, and we were joking at the
crazy
start.
stretch of schedule, honestly.
Oh, very tough schedule, and I was joking off the top that when does the tough run of games start? Clearly it's already started. We've beaten Brisbane and Carlton, but no, I think we're going to have to keep rotating players through this difficult stretch, which seems crazy that you'd rest a really good, probably someone in our best 22 to bring in a young guy. But I think we still need to keep players coming through. We need to have them.
We kind of did some of that a couple of years ago.
They're still got to be AFL ready to play, regardless of what time of the year it is, what the opponent is. You can test people all you want against your North Melbournes and your West Coast and your Hawthorn. They're not really learning about AFL footy when you're doing that. So, it could cost you a game here and there. Maybe it's worth it for the long run. I don't know.
I'm looking at the Darwin trip and the Richmond game as chances to test that. Even though, like, Darwin, first off, the last few years, the Suns have been untouchable there. And, like, week to week, I mean, their ceiling is really high if their young guys click. And then Richmond, feels weird saying that. But, again, just the number of injuries they've had. And I think what will be great about getting some of these guys games against Richmond is, like, they still have some really good informed players. You can test, a young forward against Nick Vlostone, or you can test someone against, like, a Liam Baker, or I don't know what Tim Turano's injury timeline is, but, like, I think that's a great opportunity for it because there are still some top-tier guys there, just, like, there's a drop-off because they're missing some dudes right now.
Yeah. What's the stadium called at Darwin? Is it Traeger
TIO.
Park? TIO.
I think it's Traeger Park.
Okay.
Is that, or am I thinking of Alice Springs?
Don't know. It could be.
That Traeger Park is Alice Springs. That's TIO Traeger Park. This one is just TIO's. Oh, yeah, it's TIO Stadium, or officially, I guess, and then it's Marara Oval.
Oh, okay. That's why I couldn't find it on the. I was just looking at. Yeah, so Gold Coast has won 4 in a row by reasonable margins, actually, except for one game, which is just a goal in it. But they're pretty good there. They've played.
And even though they've played some weaker teams there, I think
they've played Adelaide, Western Bulldogs, North Melbourne, and Hawthorn in recent years. So, but they've won games. They've lost a game against Carlton and lost a game against the Dogs. So,
I've always, just ever since I started getting into footy, I've always gravitated towards the games at these like alternate sites. I just think it's such a neat concept that I wish we had more of in American sports. Like every couple of years, Major League Baseball will do one game like that. It's like, this is the first Major League game ever played in Nebraska or something because they did it with the College World Series. Like, I think that's awesome. Like, I get so excited for the Alice Springs game every year.
Oh, it's good, isn't it?
Hopefully this year won't rain for that because the field was a mess for that game last year.
I'd love to have a game up in Northern Territory. Our team up in the Northern Territory, I should say. I don't know if they'd necessarily have a single destination up there. I think they'd probably split the games between Alice Springs and Darwin.
I think they'd mostly be Darwin. I mean, I still think if we're going on this tangent, I still think Canberra is a deserving place to have a team.
Like the Giants are there every other, quite a bit through the year as well, aren't they? I'm not sure how many games.
They draw really well there. I think they've made a good case to have their own team.
That's a nice little village ground. That one. It's a small little ground. It looks like fun to go to. If it's probably, I can't remember how far Canberra is from where I live. It's probably an 8-hour drive or 7-hour drive or something like that. So might be worth thinking about it one time if we ever play them up there. I don't know what I think
we played them up there just a couple years ago and smoked them.
Yeah. So I might have to look at that again one day. Mate, I'm going to wrap it up in a sec. Have you got any final thoughts on the game?
I can't stand Carlton. I've been waiting for this since last year. I don't like teams that think their shit doesn't stink. You know, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who, by the way, their mascot is named Carlton. The Michigan Wolverines, the Dallas Cowboys. Beating teams like that to think they're God's gift to the world is just a great feeling. And it was really funny seeing them crying because, the free kick count at halftime was only 8-6 instead of 18-6.
I couldn't believe it. You have no right to whinge about free kicks if you're ahead in the free kick count. I don't care how many
0-7 in the free kick count.
I don't care how bad the umpiring is. If you're winning in the free kick count, shut up. You can't talk. Tell you what, I was letting the people know about it behind me. They left before the game ended. They were sick of me by the end.
Good.
They walked out.
I can't stand these guys. And Zach Williams acting like he got sniped. Like, I was concerned at first that it was his ACL again because he's had those. But that was just a really bad flop.
There's one for you. I think Paul's got to do that enough of the week. You probably got to. It's got to be Zach. It's got to be Zach, Paul. If you're watching, I can't think of anyone else. Thoughts and prayers, Zach Williams. Hopefully you recover from your facial reconstruction.
Like 5 different things from Brisbane's game last night.
Yeah, true.
They look like a mess. God, for all the talent they have,
they're done. They are done. Put a.
If they went out through the bye, which would include a win over the Suns and a win at Adelaide, we'll talk. But they're on thin ice for all the talent they have.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough from them. I think I don't believe in Brisbane anymore. Maybe they'll make the finals, but what's the point? They're not. They can't play footy anymore at the highest level. It goes pretty quick. Maybe they'll bounce back next year. Maybe they'll go away and realise there's some things they had to fix up. But geez, it's pretty hard to stay. Here we go. I'm getting all arrogant again. It's pretty hard to stay at the top forever. It's very hard to stay at the top forever. There's only a few teams that can do it. But Brisbane, you're done. You're done. Go have a chat with Chris Scott. Maybe when you get rid of Fagan, you might want to try and get on the phone to Chris Scott's manager and get him up there and coach his old club again. We won't let him go, and he loves Geelong. He loves them. He loves them more than he loves the Brisbane Lions. I don't know that. I'm just assuming that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Only really special clubs remain at the top for 20 years. Only the greatest clubs can do it for this long. The endurance, the stamina that we have to be good.
The culture.
It gets boring. It gets boring being this good. It doesn't. It never gets boring.
After last year, I like being bored with this. I like suffering from success. And Troy Franklin should have gotten drafted last night, and whoever picks him today is going to have one of the best wide receivers out there for all you NFL folks. Been watching this kid since he was a high school freshman. Go get him.
Yep, I think so too. I appreciate you joining me on the chat. Let's make it 8 in a row next week. Hopefully we'll get you back again. It'll be an hour later for you next week because it's a later game for Geelong. So I'll start this at about 11 o'clock in Australia. So it's
Are you coming in? Are you going to physically be at the game again next week?
No, I won't be. I've got to do some running around after my daughter who's just started working. I've got to pick her up at about half-time, three-quarter time.
I think we're going to outdraw the Melbourne fans next week easily.
Oh, is it snowing in Victoria? Do you know the thing about the snow in Victoria? When it becomes winter, the Melbourne fans just give up on their team and they just don't go anymore. So they're off to the snowfields in Victoria, get on the skis, and they've forgotten about their team. So I know Melbourne's going pretty well. They're not flying, but I think we've got Melbourne covered pretty easily.
If you watched their game from the other night, watch the first half, they looked awful. Second half, they looked pretty good.
Yeah, they're not the same Melbourne they used to be.
No, but Gon can still bring
Yeah.
it.
Nice. Yeah, maybe. But is it one?
I
Is it enough?
like the kid Windsor too.
Yeah. Is it
Another
any
good
relation
challenge
to
ahead.
any relation to the royal family, Windsor?
Don't think
Harry?
so.
No, unlike them. No,
Don't think so.
mate. Thanks for joining me on the chat. I really appreciate it.
Great win.
Take care, buddy. Go Cats.
See ya. Go Cats.
Go Catters. Guys, there's still 25 people in the chat. What are you doing? It's late. I thought you would have gone by now. Thank you, though. I really, really appreciate it. You sticking around, listening to us all. And anyone who's been on tonight, I really appreciate you for coming on. A lot of regulars. You can, if you are watching and you want to jump in on the chat, we'd love to get some new faces next week as well. I don't mind the show running, 12:15 now. That's fine. It's the longest one we've ever done. I thought it probably would be the case for the Cats versus Carlton game. We'll do it again next week. We're going to keep doing it. We eventually we'll do one of these after a Cats loss. I don't know when that'll be, everyone. I'm not sure. Maybe never. Maybe we'll just keep doing these shows and forever, and it'll just be Geelong will never lose another game of football ever again. And we'll be breaking another record. We've got that 26 wins record in sight. Clearly that's in sight, and that's what we need to be aiming at right now, everybody. So strap in. It's going to be a big year for the Catters. Thanks again to everyone. Thanks again to Valhalla Brewing. Sorry, Paul's got his little thing up there, but thanks to Valhalla Brewing, the sponsor of the network. Really appreciate you. And until next time, everyone, go Cats. See you later.